grind and take.
Let's grind.
We ain't come to play. We ain't come to play. Them dogs in your face.
Let's grind.
We ain't come to play. We ain't come to play. Shut up and grind and take.
Let's grind.
We ain't come to play. We ain't come to play. Them dogs in your face. Shut up and grind.
Let's grind.
Grind and take, bro. Grind and take, bro. Grind and take.
The tape. Let's grind.
Grind and take, bro. Grind and take, bro. Grind and take, bro. Shut up and grind. Grind and take, bro. Grind and take, bro. Grind and take.
The tape.
Grind and take, bro. Grind and take, bro. Grind and take, bro.
The tape.
UGA game day, boy, we ball out. Pull up, put the whole conference in the doghouse. Leave them 6 feet, see me on the win streak. All-star status, go coach, and the bench deep. Offense on 10, how we run it? Your best ain't nothing, we gon' send them boys punting. Black and red, got them dead on arrival. Defense hunkered down for the tie. Hey, you don't want it with the dogs. Found guy on it, you don't want it with my dog. Break it down, play by play, that's the day-to-day. They know we ain't come to play, boy, it's UGA. Kirby smart, I cannot play the fool. Back to back, we did not come to lose. Back to back like we got something to prove. Pay your dues, dog nation on the move. What's up?
We do a little bit different around here.
We ain't come to play, we ain't come to play. Shut up and grind and take.
The tape.
We ain't come to play, we ain't come to play. Them dogs in your face.
Let's grind.
We ain't come to play, we ain't come to play. Shut up and grind and take.
Shut up. Let's grind.
We ain't come to play, we ain't come to play. Them dogs in your face. Shut up and grind.
Let's grind.
Grind and take, bro. Grind and take, bro. Grind and take. Shut up and grind.
Let's grind.
Grind and take, bro. Grind and take, bro. Grind and take, bro. Shut up and grind. Grind and take, bro. Grind and take, bro. Grind and take. Shut up and grind. Grind and take, bro. Grind and take, bro. Grind and take, bro.
Shut up. The tape. Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to MBR, or as we like to call it around here, Nothing But Rants, the show where I find topics that I'm oddly passionate about and I pontificate upon them. These are not hot takes, but rather takes that I'm hot about. What's up? You like that? You really like that? Let's shut up and grind some tape.
Oh, we have made it to Thursday. Thursday around this network is pretty much our Friday. So Fridays might as well be Saturdays at this point. We all know Saturdays are game days. Game days 1 week closer to college football returning. So it might as well be a college football Saturday around here. Welcome into the show. Brooks is, again, not here as usual. All right, let me chill. Not as usual. As usual might be a little harsh. He's on his tour right now. He might be coming in at some point today, but until then, it's just gonna be me and JWill in.
Hey, Kirby, heads or tails?
What are you doing right now?
Just pick one. Just heads or tails.
Heads.
Oh no!
You gotta reflip it.
Tails. It's tails.
No, you're not gonna do it. Oh no.
That's more like it.
You're gonna do it?
Oh yeah, definitely,
dude.
I mean, it's.
I gotta adjust the camera.
Yeah, dude.
So damn
get
tall.
this thing straightened out for me, all right? This is a little weird being over here, but it feels much more professional.
Dude,
I will say.
This is definitely inmates running the aside. Let me get mine right now.
Oh, see, now we got 2 solo shots going on. How about that?
Brooks is gonna shit his pants when he walks in and sees.
You think so?
Why wouldn't he, dude? He doesn't let anyone sit in the chair. I literally got fired on Twitter for even sitting in and be like, "We'll be right back to talk that dog."
Well, maybe I wanted to test my job security around here.
All right, well, if he doesn't get mad at all, we'll know who his favorite is. But no, welcome into tonight's show. Like I said, it's just me and JWill for possibly the entire show, maybe the first hour. Brooks will show up whenever he can, but we're going to kind of go down through the list here and talk about a couple of things that we've seen in the last 48 hours of college football. Main one being Ryan Day talking about how his life has changed after winning a national title. I would imagine that means, you don't have this looming pressure of not winning a national title. Texas, big spender on the roster this year. We'll kind of preview the 2026 NFL draft class and why that's kind of scaring some NFL GMs. We'll play a little game called Fact or Cap. For those of you who don't know, it might be on the older demographic of our audience. Cap also means you're not telling the truth, or you're lying, or that's not true. And then Paul Feinbaum with yet another heat. Was it a heater or is it just a Paul Feinbaum take?
Honestly, I wouldn't call this one a heater. I think that when I proposed the title of this quote to the people, they might say it's a little bit of a hot take, but honestly, once I kind of lay it out to you, it's not that much of a hot take and it makes sense for once.
Gotcha. And then closing it out, Clemson has a new football player that kind of spurred us to think about an interesting.
Is this a transfer portal player? Would we classify this as a transfer player?
I don't know because he's still within the Clemson realm.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to call it a transfer.
Checking all the boxes, though.
We'll get to that later. But welcome in. Make sure you hit the thumbs up button, like, subscribe, rate, review, all the things that make this channel a little bit better for us. JWill, what is this Ryan Day story about how his life has gotten exponentially better since winning a national title?
Yeah, I mean, you would think that after winning a national title, especially someone like Ryan Day, you would think, oh, well, of course this makes sense. Like, he doesn't have this thing over his head anymore of I have to win a national title. I have to finally deliver one to this fan base as they've been anxiously waiting for them to do this. No, it has nothing to do with that. It actually has nothing to do with the football program, his job security, or anything like that. And so I'll just go ahead and read you the quote that he gave. Every year it's become a little more amplified, I guess is the probably best way to put it, Day said. It is real that you have to have a plan. There's 2 million people in the city of Columbus. I think the people who are closest to me and my family get numb to it. So it's okay. The places I try to frequent, the kids' games, different places that we'll go to eat, and after a while, people get used to it. It's usually where we go outside of that circle where you just have to have a plan in place. What do you think he's talking about after reading that quote? Got to have a plan in place. It gets a little more amplified. Talking about the number of people near the university.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say he's talking about recruiting.
No, he is not talking about recruiting. In fact, he's talking about having to take pictures with fans, having to interact with fans in public places. This is what has changed Ryan Day's life since winning a national title, is that he has to interact with people more frequently outside of the football building. I'll give you another quote. People are great, Day said, but the one thing that people ask me all the time, what's the biggest change from when you became an assistant coach to a head coach now at Ohio State? It's pictures. It's just amazing where you go. People want pictures. So be as gracious as you can, especially with young people who are fans. It just comes with the job. One thing, though, is asking my wife to take the picture of somebody is usually not going to go very well, so I try to get out in front of that, and it's pretty good. So after winning a national title, the biggest thing that has changed in Ryan Day's life is him having to smile a whole lot for pictures when he goes out to eat with the family.
Are you kidding me?
No, I'm not kidding you. These are real quotes from Ryan Day.
Maybe this was, I'm giving Ryan Day the benefit of the doubt here of not sitting there and watching the video interview. Maybe perhaps it was kind of a passing question. He's like, you know what's one thing that really changed that I noticed personally, but saying this is the absolute biggest change that you've experienced since winning a national title is absolutely crazy. Were Ohio State fans not rocking with you beforehand, where it was like, oh, there's Ryan Day, but until he wins the national title, I'm not asking his bum ass for a picture. Like, is that what he's implying with this?
I don't know. And I would assume that this also plays a role into you got to make sure the beard's looking right, got to make sure the hair's looking right. And apparently his wife has debunked these theories that he dyes his hair. I believe she went to Twitter and made it known that my husband does not use any product on his hair to make it any darker. So at least we got that out of the way.
Why is your wife coming to your defense on that?
I don't know.
Who gives a shit?
He doesn't have time to talk about these things, Christian, because he's too busy taking pictures. He's got to get the flicks up. Got to post for Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, all the things.
How often was, there's no way to measure this. There's absolutely no way to measure this. How often was Ryan Day getting asked to take pictures beforehand? And how much has that changed since winning a national title? I get maybe there's more photo ops like, hey, coach, we need you here with the trophy to do this. We need you here to do this event. We got to have, the national championship winning head coach talking about all of these things to doing photo ops. But Ryan Day just walking down the street, and now it's like, there he is.
Oh, Ryan Day. That's him.
Oh, my God, it's Ryan Day. Please, can I please have your picture, sir? And he'd be like, it's the price of fame, baby. This is what you get for winning a natty.
Wasn't he the coach that he was walking down the street and a fan asked to do a little video with him, and in the interaction, it turned out to be a Michigan fan, and he started giving him crap for it. Like, he's like, hey, coach, say something to the camera, and he's like, go Buckeyes, and the guy's like, 0-3 against Michigan. Never like something like that. I can't remember.
There have been plenty of examples of that happening. I don't know. I would not be shocked if Michigan fans did that to Ryan Day, but this is I mean, again, this is what you have to deal with when you pay for $25-30 million for a roster. So sorry that you're having to deal with this, Ryan Day. The price of fame is tough. Being, a national championship winning head coach is it has its downfalls, man. And one of those is that you got to take pictures with people.
Man, I mean, what a hard life. You win a national title, and now you got to take a bunch of pictures. What a crazy world. Biggest change in his life since then.
Chat's talking about my mic is too low.
Okay.
Apparently I'm talking too quiet. How do you turn it up?
Okay, I will fix that for you.
All right.
You just keep on talking, and I'll fix it for you.
All right. Again, this is not my jurisdiction of the microphone levels and stuff. So if I'm talking quiet, again, it's not because I'm scared. It's not because I don't want to be, an active member of this. Brooks just naturally talks a little louder. So hopefully JWill just got that figured out. I don't know if your mic is too loud.
I pumped it up for you, so we'll
Thanks,
see. We'll
man.
get some feedback on that.
So we're making an effort here. Brooks isn't – boss man's not here to tell us what to do. So we're kind of flying by the seat of our pants here. But no, that's what you get for paying for $30 million and winning a national championship.
Someone else is spending millions and millions and millions of dollars. I guess you hear one team wins a national title after spending a bunch of money, and now the Texas Longhorns have decided that they would like to adopt that role as well, as reports have surfaced that they are going to spend $40 million on this year's roster.
$40 million. How are you? All right, so you'd have to imagine that 8 or 9 of that's probably tied up in Arch. Maybe 4 or 5, let's just be realistic. 3 or 4 is probably tied up in Arch simply because he is Arch freaking Manning, and that's just the reality of what he cost. Where's the other 35, 36 million coming from on this roster right now?
So once it kind of is laid out in the article, it makes sense why this $40 million amount is being floated around for the Longhorns. So it says, where did this quote start? Oh, the story reads, it currently sits somewhere between 35 and 40 million, which counts the likely revenue sharing allotment expected to be 20.5 million, as well as payouts through the Texas One Fund, a connected source told the Houston Chronicle. So this $40 million amount is being reported. Well, half of that is going to be the revenue sharing of $20.5 million, something that we have spoken about ad nauseum on this channel. And then it continues and says, this also figures to be one-time exorbitant expense because athletic director Chris Del Conte and others have said the school plans to phase out its collective in favor of the revenue sharing via the House settlement and with the move to name, image, and likeness payouts through corporations. $40 million could be and likely is an exaggeration of the actual budget in Austin, but there's no doubt that Texas will be one of the biggest spenders in college football.
Okay, so it's not that they're spending like the 53-man or whatever it is, 105-man roster they have is costing them $40 million collectively. It's the estimates between this and all these things.
Yeah, and again, once you kind of factor in the fact that $20.5 million is partially due to the revenue sharing model potentially on its way, it makes sense because you would have to assume that Texas probably is around that $20 million range of spending on their roster annually. I know that it kind of got blown out of proportion with Ohio State because they went and got Will Howard and some other transfers, and it seemed like they were on the verge of making a national title run, and then they go and win the title. So then it's an even bigger talking point of like, well, they just bought their roster, so who really cares that they won the national title? They were supposed to. Now this is another example, and the same thing would happen. You would have to imagine of if Texas goes on and wins the national title this year, all anybody's going to point to is, well, these jokers are spending $40 million on their roster. Of course they should win the national title.
That's what I was about to say. This story is bad news for Texas because it is now just automatically, if you win the national title, it's, well, what did you expect? They spent $40 million on their roster. Steve Sarkisian went out and bought a national championship team. He didn't coach his way to it. Texas didn't play to it. They just had better players on the field. The opposite of that, and it's kind of what we saw with Ryan Day last year when they were losing to Michigan and struggling against Nebraska, was you spent all this money and you weren't able to deliver a national title, or you're losing these games. Like, you must be a terrible head coach. If I had that much talent, if I had $40 million worth of talent, I would be winning. I would be undefeated. So it's not really a good look for Texas. And you'd have to imagine that this story is not coming out from Texas insiders or Texas coaches because, again, you don't want to spend a lot of money in college football. You want to be as good as you can. There's a threshold of we have to spend this amount of money so that teams think we're trying to be competitive and our fans think we actually give a shit about this. And then there's also a threshold to where if you're spending too much, it's, Well, if you don't fall anything short of the best college football team in the world, go undefeated, you're wasting the money. So
I mean, that's an interesting point you make about Sarkisian and how this getting leaked out about your football program kind of sets you up for failure, because I think it's now a double-edged sword of it was already going to be maybe considered a failure as a head coach if Arch Manning is your quarterback, this former 5-star in the Manning lineage, supposed to be one of the next greats, potential number 1 overall pick. If you don't win a national title with him, you're going to catch some heat from that. Even if he stays 2 years, you don't get a national title of it, people are going to be up in arms. Now, for this season at least, you're tacking on another they're spending $40 million on top of having Arch Manning. So in other words, they put in all these assets to make sure that this Arch Manning experience worked and to make sure that they got the most out of it. And if you don't win diddly squat during these 1 or 2 years that you have Arch Manning as your starting quarterback, then there's going to be even more reason and even more of an outburst from the fans and even probably from some outsiders, as well as if Steve Sarkisian fit to be the head coach at Texas, because he had $40 million to use and he had Arch Manning, and he also had Quinn Ewers. That was a former 5-star, former top 5 player in the country, and he didn't win a national title with him either. So it's kind of setting up to where Steve Sarkisian better win something soon, or else there's going to be some big questions.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate that the narrative so easily steers in, because let's be honest, lots of people aren't going to read that article. Lots of people aren't going to go into the details of that and realize, okay, Texas isn't literally spending $40 million on their players. But you look at Ohio State spent $30 million last year, won a national title. Texas is seeing that, and they're getting desperate, and they're doing this now. So it's not a great article for Texas.
Mm-hmm.
But honestly, at the same point, what's going to stop this from continuing? Because there's somewhere where these numbers are coming from.
Mm-hmm.
There's something that's not – these agents and reporters aren't just pulling these numbers out of their ass where, hey, last year was 30, this year's 40. Next year, the Georgia Bulldogs are spending 50. Like, something is happening that indicates, teams are spending more. Teams are doing this. I don't think it's a sustainable model. I don't think anyone disagrees that it's not a sustainable model. It's more just so, when is this all going to come crashing down?
I guess once revenue sharing gets here, because then at that point, everybody kind of knows what you're spending on your roster and what's being allotted to these players. And then on top of that, when you do hear these ridiculous numbers of like Arch Manning is earning $6 million while at Texas, well, part of that is due to revenue sharing. And then you also can see and visibly find these corporations that are sponsoring the other ones. Like, he has these brand deals. And that's probably what the majority of Arch Manning's NIL valuation is to begin with. Of this guy has plenty of deals to where that makes it seem like it's a believable number. But when revenue sharing comes, you at least know where it's coming from, because you know it's coming from revenue sharing, and then you know the other parts of it is, Arch Manning got a deal with whoever, whatever brand in Texas or restaurant that wants to sponsor him, or whatever car dealership or whoever it is.
And that's the issue I have with this kind of NIL era of how things are done, because Team X can give a player, say, all right, this player is making yada, yada, yada from the NIL deals, when in reality the team is paying for them all. Mm-hmm. You're getting $300,000 not from your NIL deals, but the school is paying that out of their pocket. Whereas Arch Manning can be guys like Arch Manning, where Arch Manning's making $8 million a year right now, when in reality Texas is probably only giving him $3 to $4 million of that at most, and the rest of this is coming from the outside deals he does. I feel like I see him on a new social media trend like every single day and things like that, like those types of things where we don't know how much of this is coming out of the team's pocket where they're actually paying you, and how much of this is actually boosters, or not boosters, but sponsorships, outside third-party organizations that are providing this money. It's all just one big pile that they dish out to players either way. So it's interesting, and a lot of money on the move here. Speaking of being on the move, if you're constantly on the move having to skip meals, Huel
skip meals?
Speaking of on the move, if you're constantly on the move having to skip meals, Huel has you covered. They're today's sponsor, spelled Huel. Tripped up there a little bit on me. Their Black Edition, once again, this is the strawberry banana, but it's still delicious. Ready to drink game changer. It's a complete meal in one bottle with 35 grams of protein, 27 vitamins and minerals, high fiber, low sugar, so you feel full, focused, and ready for your day. There's no prep, there's no cleanup, just grab and go. They've already sold 500 million bottles, and now it's your turn to try. New customers get 15% off and a free gift when you go to Huel.com and use code FGN. That's Huel.com, code FGN. I hope they didn't watch that one because that's the worst ad read I've done all week for them.
Hey, you got there eventually.
We got there eventually. The message is clear. Huel, very good. Saves you time if you're hungry. Have a snack. Maybe, grab and go.
And, if you're interested to know, what do these things taste like? Well, first off, the strawberry banana one, you ever had a Danimals? It smells exactly like that. So, and if you ever enjoyed that as a kid, and obviously those are not healthy for you, Danimals aren't. So, but this.
Danimals aren't healthy for you?
I wouldn't think so.
Dude, I was crushing Danimals.
I would imagine there's a lot of sugar in those. And especially for a little tiny bottle because it's a super tiny, it's basically one gulp.
I remember drinking a Danimals and thinking I'm being healthy today. I'm not drinking chocolate.
Same
milk.
if you ate a Trix yogurt for lunch as a kid. It's
Trix yogurt.
Yogurt, dude.
Trix
healthy.
yogurt and chicken nuggets. I was like, chicken's good. This is healthy.
Most balanced meal I've had all day as a kid.
Maybe a glass of pink lemonade. All right, this is not a food channel. But no, Texas is spending a lot of money, and that's kind of got a lot of teams are seeming going all in financially for this 2025 season, which kind of is having an adverse effect on the draft position where teams seem to be kind of backing off of the 2026 class just because no one really knows where it's coming from or who's good or who's not. I mean, for God's sakes, the guy we just talked about who would be the unanimous overall number one pick, they don't even know if he's going to declare this year. So,
yeah, I'm just going to put it out there right now, sitting today as May 1st. So we're nearly a year out from the 2026 NFL draft. But the more and more I read about the next year's draft class and the more and more mock drafts I see and what people are projecting, I am scared and terrified of next year's draft if I'm an NFL GM because let's just break it down in the quarterback position real quick. Lenore Sellers has already been projected as a top 10 pick, maybe even a top 5 pick. It might be quarterback 1 next year if he has a fantastic year at South Carolina. The traits are great. All right, he's very mobile in the pocket. He can do anything and everything you would ask him to. He's got a great arm, but it's kind of up in the air, and you're kind of waiting to see if there is progress this next season. You hit on it all the time, Christian, about the fumbles and the turnovers that he had this past year as a first-year starter at South Carolina. Now, some of that might be a byproduct of the offensive line kind of being shaky, but nonetheless, you can't be turning the football over as a pro, and if that continues into this year, there's still some questions, and the fact of even if Lenore has a great season this year at South Carolina, the biggest thing that you are betting on with him are the traits. And we've seen that go terribly many times in the NFL draft at the quarterback position.
It's at the point now where it's if I see a dual threat, can run the ball well, big physical quarterback, I'm honestly scared of it at this point because they go to the NFL, they're injured, they almost seemingly can never read defenses or they struggle to do it consistently more so than they don't, and they almost never pan out. I can't really think of the last, guy that succeeded doing this. You could argue Josh Allen was that, but Josh Allen was also a pocket passer that just so happened to kind of run on the side. His traits were more size-based than it was athleticism-based.
Yeah. Moving on, Garrett Nussmeier is another one of these quarterbacks that's being projected as a first-rounder. Some are saying that he is the best quarterback in the SEC heading into this season. I love Garrett Nussmeier. I've watched a lot of Garrett Nussmeier over the past couple of years. I was impressed with him when he played against Georgia in this SEC championship game. But Garrett Nussmeier is basically playing lawn darts in the dark. That's how he plays football. It's really just hit or miss, and you really have no idea how this is going to result. You might be stabbing a guy in the foot, or you might be getting a bullseye. That's just kind of how his game goes. And I've never watched Garrett Nussmeier and been like, that's a first-round pick right there. That's a guy that I would be drafting as my franchise quarterback. Now, again, maybe this could change this season at LSU for him. Maybe he shows continued improvements. Maybe he knocks some of that unexpected quarterback or unexpected decisions and wildness of his game. But in the same time, that's kind of who he is. So you don't want to knock it out of him too much. But again, Garrett Nussmeier, good college quarterback. I don't like the idea of drafting him in the first round.
No, I don't either. And by the way, the chat's correcting me. Lamar Jackson is absolutely the last player to have strictly athleticism traits in the workout in the NFL. But no, you're right about Garrett Nussmeier. And the longer we go down the list, the more it seems like, the more I'm realizing about this class in particular is there's not really a proven or a known commodity. We went into the 2022 college football season knowing that Bryce Young was going to be one of the top 3 quarterbacks taken. We went into the 2023 college football season knowing that whatever happens, Caleb Williams is going to be one of the top quarterbacks taken. I feel like we haven't had this the last few seasons where it's kind of I don't know, whoever plays well this season's kind of earned it. We did not come into 2024 saying, Cam Ward, number 1 overall pick. And he played his way into it and he absolutely earned it. But there's a lot of guys where it's we feel like we have an idea of what they are. we're kind of buying the projection of what they are, but there's still so much that we don't know that we don't even know where the floor bottoms out at. Garrett Nussmeier could be
Oh, you won the coin toss.
I did win the coin toss.
Oh, boy.
I didn't even know what the coin toss was for, dude. Oh, he's making you switch. Oh, it was fun.
doing?
It was fun while it lasted.
Oh, the seat's warm.
Dang, bro.
Seat's warm. What's up, boys?
Oh,
you,
not
had
much.
you had to change camera angles?
Yeah,
Yeah,
dude.
you
Dude's
know.
too tall for you? Couldn't
Yeah,
move the seat down, huh?
I had to adjust it. Hang on.
I
let me
mean, stretch over there. What's up, boys? You having a good show?
yeah,
having
man.
a
How was
fantastic show
the
right now.
drive?
Oh, the drive was going until I had to get yanked off the side of the road to cover a little breaking news. Boy can't even get a heads up nowadays. I mean, god dang.
Yeah,
Shout
we
out
were
Graham
trying.
Houston.
Literally, as we were hitting go live, Jay was like, "Oh no!" I was like,
Yeah.
Literally as we were going.
Yeah,
And the
news
one-
all no.
The one time when we're short staffed to where we can't write it. So luckily we got it out, we got it covered. But,
All right, well, y'all do what you're doing. I'm going to get settled in.
talking Garrett Nussmeier, I believe is what we were. It was quarterbacks in this draft class in general. Here,
I made the point of this next draft class is already making me terrified, especially if I was an NFL GM, specifically talking about the quarterback class. And I'll continue with this of Kay Klubnik is another one of these guys that people think could very well play in a top 5 pick for him. But and he's been great. Like last season, he had this 5-week stretch where he looked like he potentially could be the best quarterback in college football. But then it kind of slipped off a little bit. Then he plays great against Texas in the college football playoff. And now they're setting up for success with him. They return a lot of their weapons. He's returning yet again for another year to start at Clemson. And he seems like maybe someone that could play into this legitimately. But at the same time, there's been moments and spurts of inconsistencies with him where I would be a little hesitant to even pick him as a top 10 pick this year, even if the production was there this year.
Yeah, and it all goes back to my point. I feel like we are heading into this class more than ever. You could do it with Drew Aller. JWill's got the coin. He had to flip it. Don't worry. He didn't take your coin. But you can do it with Drew Aller. You can do it with numerous guys. Where I feel like we're going into the 2026 draft class. And, again, it's a long ways away. But more so years before, you could say, okay, they're going to be a top 10 overall pick. They're going to be a first-round pick. We know in next 2 draft classes, Jeremiah Smith and Ryan Williams are going to be top 15 picks. They're going to be the first 2 wide receivers off the board. Like, that's stamped, barring scandal or injury from them.
To be fair, I don't think anyone projected Joe Burrow to be the number 1 overall
No.
pick. I don't think anyone projected Jaden Daniels to be a top 3 overall pick.
Correct.
Like
And that's-
I don't think Bo Nix was projected to be a first-round draft pick.
No, and that's kind of
you
what we
probably already hit on
And he
this,
made a
but
point
yeah.
about that.
Yeah, how like there's always the guys that elevate, but there's also like we knew what Bryce Young was going into the 2022 season.
Yeah.
We knew what Caleb Williams was going into the 2023 season. So I feel like more so than ever, there's less proven commodities than just there have been before. I don't know why that's happening, but
I think there's a possibility that we're looking too far ahead doing 2026, but I think 2027 is going to be insane.
mm-hmm.
You know, led by DJ Lagway and Arch Manning.
Yeah.
I'm of the camp that Arch Manning is a 2027 entrant.
Yeah.
Like you can move out of here with this. He's going to play 13 games and go to the league. Like I don't think that family's going to allow that to happen.
No, I think you're absolutely right on that, and that's kind of what we're alluding to, and that's also part of the reason why people are so shaken about this 2026 class is that, man, we've got this number 1 guy who everyone wants, but we don't even know if he's going here yet. So
Yeah, then, and another prospect that I'll hit on in this upcoming class is Drew Aller, who we're still waiting on. We're going on another season of saying, this is the year for Drew Aller. This is the one he's going to do it. He's going to look like the top overall prospect. He's got all the tools. He's just got to put it all together. We've been waiting on that to happen for the last 3 years, I feel like. And he got downgraded in weapons. He doesn't have Tyler Warren anymore.
I don't know enough about the stock market to give this a proper comparison, but what is an accurate stock where it's like everyone's like, hey, man, just keep buying this. Eventually one day you'll be rich, but just keep doing it. GameStop?
no,
No.
like Apple
One of
and
these shit coins?
Nvidia,
Yeah, probably one of those.
yeah, like Nvidia and stuff.
Just
like that.
buy Drew Aller stock. It might one day hit. It's like scratching a lotto ticket, except you kind of think it might one day actually happen.
Well, I think the problem is like when you constantly buy something, you expect it to consistently elevate. And while Drew Aller is better than what he was the first day he started, it's also like the return of investment has not been there, you think. Like Drew Aller was a 5-star quarterback. People are saying, get Sean Clifford out of here. We've got this 5-star. We need 35-year-old Sean Clifford to go. And now it's kind of like Drew Aller's in a similar situation to that where it's like, all right, well, hey, he's got so much experience and he's got talent to we're at the point now where it's got to hit eventually, right?
I mean, I know y'all probably already talked about it, but I saw the Nuss Bus in like top 12 conversations.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know I like Nuss. I don't think Nuss is a first round. Like he could throw for 4,200 yards this year. I'm not going to be like, yeah, first round traits, dude. Did you already do all these takes?
That's exactly what I said.
I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. I'm glad that someone else views it that way.
Like I love Nuss, but there are physical limitations.
Absolutely.
I think there's a reason why he wasn't I don't think he was a 5-star quarterback coming out of high school. Some of these physical traits things are why guys are drafted as high as they are in the NFL. So I like him. Hell, I think I ranked him 3rd overall in the SEC quarterback rankings when I finally redid them. But whoa.
Yeah. And the other thing,
careful.
And the other thing we were talking about with that is that having all these guys where it's like, they're not traitsy, but they have qualities that would make them first-round contenders. You also, it seems like you're getting scared away from just traitsy guys in general. Like Anthony Richardson was this. Lenore Sellers kind of fits this where it's like he's so traitsy. He seems like the prototypical playmaker for you, but it's also like there's a bunch of other concerns.
Traits plus progression. That would be my method. Like traits, progression, data collection. Like we got to have a lot of it, right? We got to have a lot of starts. We got to have a lot of progression through those starts, and obviously we have to have NFL traits to win on Sunday. That's why I'm so bullish on Sellers. It's not just the physical stuff.
Yeah,
it's the fact that he got incremental or insurmountably better throughout the year for me.
Yeah,
I'm waiting to see that pop from Lagway. Like I'm infatuated with Lagway as a talent. I just think he's got to continue to see the field the right way.
And I think the best thing that you could know about Lenore Sellers right now as an NFL prospect is that he has shown the ability to elevate a football team. And that's what you're asking a quarterback to do when you take him in the top 10 is to elevate your franchise when all of the other pieces around him might not be great yet. They had talented players, but his offensive line was very makeshift.
Honest to God, that point right there just confirms to me Shedeur Sanders was blackballed. Did y'all spend 30 minutes on this NFL topic?
No,
not
today,
no.
dude.
I transitioned too quickly over that. People probably didn't catch the sarcasm. What have y'all talked about?
We talked about how Ryan Day. Have you heard the Ryan Day? How his
Would
life
you like
has
to hear how
changed?
Ryan Day's life changed after a national title?
Sure.
I can summarize it for you.
Sure. Did he have a weight lifted off of his shoulders?
Oh,
No, it's been added.
there's more of a burden.
Oh yeah,
This is
a burden of greatness.
yeah.
Well,
Kind
yes,
of.
but
He's had to take more pictures. This is how his life has changed post-national
You know, the
title.
selfie is – here's the problem. The autograph is removed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And back in the day, to inconvenience a famous person, you had to carry a pin around. You know what I mean? A pin and something to sign on. Nowadays, it's just, hey, man, can I get a selfie? Real quick. And so, yeah, I would imagine Ryan Day's taking lots of selfies, probably having to reapply that beard dye he doesn't do.
Yeah, I hit on that
He does not dye his beard. Don't say it or else his wife will crush you on social.
He apparently, too, has made it a point that you cannot ask his wife to take the picture. And he's made it a point to start the conversation with that.
Okay, she's got to be in the picture.
Either in the picture, or you just don't tell her to take the picture.
I mean,
We
that's
had one designated
husband.
friend in our high school group that every single time we were together, we would say, hey, his name is Brett. Hey, Brett, will you take a picture of all of us friends?
Jesus,
Brett never got in a picture.
Brett never got in the picture.
poor Brett, dude.
Yeah.
Dang.
Damn,
I was surprised I didn't get invited to Brett's wedding.
that's tough.
And then we also hit on
Destination wedding. It was just limited list,
understandable.
I think.
And then we also hit on this reported number that Texas is spending $40 million, but it's really not $40 million because the $20.5 million for revenue sharing is built into this. So really, it's like business
It's
as
just
usual.
20. It's 20 fake money.
Yeah,
20 fake money that they're not supposed to be doing.
yeah.
That we don't have rules on yet. That they're already collecting money on
Supposedly.
the NIL front. That's supposed to go through Deloitte.
Yeah.
They're already planning to get $20 million put together in that pool that's supposed to go through sanctions and regulations.
Yeah.
That we don't know quite yet what those sanctions and regulations are for another undisclosed amount of time.
Yeah.
That time. Also, I got a lot of thoughts on this one. I thought about this one today. Just about one thought. Steve Sarkisian has been Mr. Texas Got Culture guy all offseason. Y'all heard this?
Yep.
Every time Buddy gets in front of the microphone, all he talks about is how great his culture is at his university. I guarantee you this dude that wrote this article today got a phone call from somebody in Texas's building going, what in the hell are you doing? Why are you releasing this information? It may or may not be right, but why are you releasing this information? Second most important thing that's coming out of the state of Texas, or at least the football program as of late. Did you see the 5-star offensive tackle that snitched on the whole football team?
No.
Y'all didn't see this? We kind of, I'm not going to mention him by name. There was a young man that got arrested.
Okay.
DWI, driving under
Oh
the
yes, yes,
Okay?
I did hear about this.
The police report has further come out on that. Hey, officer, please don't take me to jail. I was just taking recruits to the club. Hey, officer, don't take me to jail. I was just going to the strip club where all the football team gets special privileges. Yeah, dog, in the police report. Hey, nobody going to talk about it, though. Let's move on to segment.
I mean,
Wow. I didn't see that part of it.
I read so you don't have to.
I did see that
I
part.
read so you don't have to. But Buddy was singing like he had the solo in the kids' play. I mean, he was out there just letting the officers know everything that's going down at the Texas football program right about now. I bet the club's popping, though.
Oh, yeah.
There probably is some popping.
I bet the club is popping and locking, maybe dropping.
You want to play your new game, JWill?
Is it a new game?
I don't think
A returning
Have
game?
we ever played Factor Cap on this show?
It doesn't sound like something I would allow, but let's do it. No, I'm just kidding.
Wow,
I
what
don't
do you
hate
mean?
it.
It's
I don't
a
hate
fun
it.
game. You
The
want to
kids
go?
would love this.
All right,
This
so
is great, too, that you're here because we can provide them and you just go in blind.
Right.
So this is fantastic.
I'll go first with this one, and this one's kind of a baseline, on topic as well. Arch Manning will win the Heisman this year. Fact or cap?
Cap. I don't think he wins the Heisman this year. I would be betting on it to happen the next season.
Yeah. I think we're looking at like a way better season. Not way better season. I think we're looking at a better season than what Quinn Ewers just put down.
Yeah. I think that's fair.
What did he go? 3,500? 3,500, something like that?
About yeah.
I bet we got 3,800 yards coming our way from Arch Manning. And the name alone's going to have him in New York. I wouldn't put it past it, but if you made me pick, I'd take the field, meaning it's cap,
I would go cap
right?
as well.
I mean, it's just too easy to pick the field.
yeah, it is.
But
too easy.
he's the favorite in my mind right here on paper today.
I mean, he's going to be the guy that everyone wants to win. The
I mean,
Heisman.
from the ear Mateer gets Oklahoma to like 10 wins some magical way. If that happens, I'll write it right now. I'm not a Heisman voter. I don't need to see the stats. If John Mateer gets Oklahoma to 10-2, he gets my vote for Heisman.
That's fair. But I mean, even last year, like there wasn't a Heisman quarterback. Like the first two picks were a cornerback / wide receiver and a running back that didn't play Power 4 football. Like
Yeah.
that's how poor quarterback play was last year in comparison to everything else. Now, what those guys were doing was astronomically different, unlike anything we'd ever seen before, and they absolutely deserved to be in New York. But I think we all agreed that if there was any similar if there was a Bryce Young or a Caleb Williams or a Jaden Daniels or anything like that,
Yeah.
those guys would not be Heisman winners. So I think it is interesting that, I mean, even if you get like more than half decent play from Arch Manning, the media is going to gobble that up.
What would it take from Jeremiah Smith to get another wide receiver to win a Heisman? And by the way, I spoke to someone at Ohio State yesterday. I was under the impression that the whole quarterback battle was just Fugazi Ryan Day talk.
Mm-hmm.
It ain't. They don't know. They don't know who the guy is right now.
Huh. Is that a good problem or a bad?
I don't know. I don't know if that means the Kindholz kid and the freshman Tavion St. Clair. I don't know if that means they're that good. Or normally when this type of story comes out, everybody immediately starts freaking out about the 5-star they spent $1.7 million on.
Oh, he's not as good. He's
Yeah.
a bust.
Oh my God, he's a bust. We wasted money. Why did we let this kid transfer in? That type of vibe. But I don't know. It was just interesting to me. When I hear Ryan Day do the we don't know who our quarterback thing is, I'm always just like, okay, dude. You said the same thing last year and the year before that and the year before that. But this came from someone who doesn't care what the narrative is. You know what I mean? Just true, honest. I don't know who the guy is.
Well, that's kind of what my takeaway was when watching their spring game and this was of just St. Clair and Julian saying it was both had good days, but both also had spurts of yikes, that doesn't look too good. Got to clean that up. Got to fix that. Both looked uncomfortable at times, but then other times it was like, that dude looks like he could start tomorrow. So I'm sure that's how it's been in practice.
I know where you sit on the Arch Manning hype's way too much stuff. I understand that. But do you think he's going to be really good?
Yeah.
Okay. But I'm with you. Like, I understand why people are already sick of it because I look up and PFF in the middle of the draft is talking about how Arch Manning would have went 1-1 in this draft. Way too much. Way too much. I understand that. However, looking at the film, looking at what the prospect is, there's no doubt in my mind he's going to be really good.
Absolutely. He's going to be a very, very good quarterback. But the problem with that is, like we've talked about before, the media is going to want to take a very, very good quarterback and make him the greatest of all time. People who want to push back on that are going to say a very, very good quarterback is overrated, isn't good. So, I mean, there's a middle ground there.
I got buddies in the Texas media space that might be buying vacation homes off Arch Manning's career. So the media is going to eat this alive.
I mean, understandable.
People are reading it like crazy.
Got to do it.
So where to next? I am just an innocent bystander on this here train.
The intern.
Factor cap. Arizona State makes it back to the playoff.
Ooh, that's one of mine, actually. I'm going cap. The Big 12's too unpredictable.
I was about to say factor cap. Anyone knows anything about the Big 12 this year?
We can go down the list. Every single team in the Big 12 and say they will win the Big 12 championship. And I will say cap for every single one of those teams because no one has a single clue what that conference is going to look like, who's going to be. It's the modern-day Pac-12. Remember how 5 or 6 years ago when the Pac-12 was at its peak, we'd all come in and say, hey, here's a couple of top 10 teams. These are really good. By the end of the year, everyone would be 9-3.
You just hit on why I don't think it's the modern-day Pac-12. Who are the top 10 teams in the Big 12 right now?
There's not some in the Big 12 right now, but
I always looked at the Pac-12 and was like, there's at least a couple national title contenders out there if they survive whatever mystic nightmares happen out there in the West at night.
Yeah,
but I'm with you. In terms of unpredictability, Big 12, Pac-12.
And like even last year, like BYU hovered around the top 10 for a while. No one really thought they were a top 10. Yeah. I mean, we got to the point where Arizona State creeped into that just because of what they won. So I think that stuff like that. Like, there were a couple of teams in the Big 12 that were hovering around that top 15. I was like, hey, this is a playoff team. It's like, they're not. We're just
I'll tell you what we are. What we are around here is the anti-Texas Tech deep state.
So I was about to hit on
them
that.
Red Raiders
new deep
can
state.
get up out of here. I ain't playing that.
Well, but like when we talked about that article coming out of how they're spending all this money, I was like, okay, this is going to be a little flare up. People are going to talk about Texas Tech and it's going to die off.
They've doubled and tripled down since.
And I keep reading these articles that ESPN releases, and it's like Texas Tech signs the best spring portal class. Texas Tech potentially the best Big 12 team this year. Texas Tech buying their way to this and that. Like, they're just the offseason team this year of like, oh, Texas Tech is the dark horse. Like, a team is this every single year, and it's going to be Texas Tech
Virginia
this year.
Tech.
I heard they're going to secede from college football and join the Canadian Football League.
Like a signed Shadur.
Straight to UFL, sign Shadur.
That's the most believable thing we've said so far.
Honestly,
Booster said he's tired of it, tired of spending money on college kids, going to start spending money on pros.
Honestly, it's going to happen someday.
Going back to the Arizona State thing, though, I'd probably say fact. Right now, that's the team that I feel best about in the Big 12, just because they have Levitt returning as their quarterback. They have a lot of returning pieces. This is a very veteran team as well. They return a lot of pieces.
All right, factor cap. South Carolina will have an equal or better record than they did last season.
Ooh, that schedule, though. That schedule is brutal this year.
Schedule's tough. I'm going.
Defense is the biggest question for me.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if they go 8-4.
Yeah, that's the thing is I could see 8-4. Settlers still has a great season. You don't feel like you kind of feel like you wasted your last year with him potentially, but at the same time, he maximized what he was able to do as a college athlete. But
I feel like South Carolina overachieved last season, like pretty significantly, and like to overachieve again would be 10-2, which I don't see that happening. Like, that's really overachieving.
Dude, week 1, they were struggling against Old Dominion. I mean, going into the season, I mean, even past week 1, it was like.
Bro, he had one of the best post-game videos after that Old Dominion game.
The smile. Like, we're happy we
got
that
my God,
win.
we're happy we got out of here with the win. As soon as he gets the microphone taken off his face, like.
So, yeah, they
hit
definitely.
him with a go Gamecocks and then looked like he was about to murder everyone around him real quickly.
Man. Yeah, I mean, they definitely exceeded expectations last year. Factor cap. USC wins 10 games this season.
Cap.
I'm
going cap.
I'm going cap, dude. I would buy more fact of Lincoln Riley gets fired at the end of the season.
Ooh.
I think that's more likely to happen than them win 10. I mean, I think that's more likely to happen than them winning 10 games.
The schedule is pretty nice, if you ask me. They got
Big Ten's either you get all the big schools or you get none of them.
Yeah.
They got none of them.
They have.
Let me guess. They play Michigan and nobody else.
They play Michigan and Oregon. The schedule is Missouri State, Georgia Southern, Purdue, Michigan State, Illinois, Michigan, Notre Dame. Oh, they play Notre Dame too.
9-3.
Nebraska, Northwestern, Iowa, Oregon, UCLA.
Speaking of Georgia Southern, did you see that my man Clay Helton was in national news this week?
I did see it.
I didn't see it.
My man Clay Helton went out there and tweeted out tweeted a graphic of every one of his football players that was someone attempted to poach and they didn't leave the roster. And he tweeted out a graphic of them and said, "Thank you, basically, to these guys who chose program over dollars." And it just so happened to coincide right after Troy Spikes committed to South Carolina, but I ain't gonna talk about it. But I thought it was kind of funny. Not funny. I thought it was an interesting move, enough so that like. the word must have got out in the PR department at ESPN because it was on graphics everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Everywhere.
Some people just love the borough, man. It's a good time. So I've heard.
Dry County, so I've heard.
Okay.
Bars got a lot of alcohol.
Yeah, the bars.
The gas stations don't.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, I think they sell beer there, no liquor.
Okay, that would make
Yeah.
sense.
I've never been, so we'll see.
Shout out to the borough.
Factor cap. North Carolina will go 8-4 or better this season. Let me read you the
We're
schedule.
not answering that question.
This is not a good time to be talking.
We're not talking-
we're not
predicting
talking
North
about
Carolina
that. We're not talking
football.
about
We're not
right
talking
now.
about that.
Do you actually?
How'd we meet? We're not talking about that.
We're not talking about that.
Ma'am, we know you met on a plane pretending to read a book. We know this.
Just gets more and
What
more
a story.
interesting.
Bro, the $8 million in real estate dealings over the last 3 months article. Did you see that?
Mm-hmm.
Bro, I don't think, maybe he realized this when he came to college or maybe didn't. Did Bill Belichick know that when you become a head coach in college, all these types of stories start to come out about you if you do something like date a 24-year-old?
Maybe he did know this because that's why this 24-year-old is so involved, but at the same time, he didn't know it'd be.
Yeah. The
This
New
much?
York Post today, I think, released an article. Maybe it was the New York Post. Somebody released an article today that found her real estate dealings since her and Belichick have been dating. She's got like an $8 million real estate profile already.
All right, let's honestly
Kudos to her.
we're getting.
Is that
to,
what you're going to say?
We're getting to. Well, I don't want to say kudos because you could walk the line of this is elderly abuse, but she's hustling.
Yeah.
Let's acknowledge the fact that this young lady is out here hustling.
Grinding.
Like her net worth, her notoriety, everything about her has exceeded 500 times fold.
I mean, her biggest bullet point on her resume in that athletic article was her 78,000 Instagram followers. I'm sure that's taken a bonus.
Mm-hmm. So
It's good for her.
So
8-4 though? I don't know.
The downside to all of that is,
Schedule's dog shit. Though,
It's
at North
very
Carolina
easy.
this year.
and also with her though, all of that could crash and burn in a matter of seconds. You have this exposure with now. People are going to keep talking about you because you dated Bill Belichick, but
You don't think she's marrying him?
I don't know.
could be.
I mean,
But the
it's like an
schedule
18-year contract, right? if it works out,
What
worst case
she's
scenario.
betting on.
You know what I mean?
at worst.
Can't be that bad.
Schedule is TCU, Charlotte, Richmond, UCF, Clemson. There's an L. California, Virginia, Syracuse, probably an L. Stanford, Wake Forest, Duke, maybe, NC State. I mean, it's a pretty manageable schedule.
But we're speaking of that schedule as if we're talking about Clemson. This is North Carolina.
No, I agree.
A team that now we expect them to improve because of who their head coach is, and they've made some moves to improve their roster for sure, but they've also lost some valuable pieces as well. So, yeah, the schedule is cake, but if North Carolina was on somebody else's schedule, I'd be like, that's cake, that's a dub.
I'm gonna say this is fact, but
You said 8-4?
I'm gonna go 8-4 is fact.
Dude, if they don't go 8-4 with that schedule,
I agree with
How
that.
you get it's a year one thing.
I don't care.
It's year one.
It's year one with a mediocre ACC roster. Now, granted, half of them left in the portal, so that's interesting.
I think it
But
really
I think a lot of it was dead weight. I don't
think-
want to sit here and
yeah.
negative spin the
Sure.
Tar Heels.
outside of Bo Atkinson.
Yeah,
But,
Bo Atkinson. People freaked out about the Zach Rice thing. Zach Rice isn't. He's not okay.
All right, we got the point.
I mean, shit. The 5-star signed under Mac Brown and never played under Mac.
I think the biggest thing is if you do turn in a 6-6, what were the 6 losses like? Were they close fought games and you just couldn't get over the hump, was it you just got manhandled in those 6 games?
Was it a Scott Frost 3-9, or was it a
pretty much
Just one-score losses that
just,
you had
just
leads in.
lose by 3 to everybody?
everybody?
Can't run the ball
Number
and
one-
stop explosives.
Number 1 team, lose by 3. Unranked Iowa State, lose by 3.
Sneak a 7-point loss into Iowa State just for the hell of it.
Yeah.
We've got time. Do you want to go ahead and hit the fine bomb since we're getting up on the time?
Oh,
What
yeah.
did Feinbaum do?
Feinbaum, I wouldn't call this typical Feinbaum offseason heater, but he certainly gave us another good quote. And he said that there is a college football coach that has the best job security right now. And I'll read you the
Steve
quote.
Sarkisian.
I'll read you the quote, and you can try. Well, I think I can read the first quote. The second one will definitely give it away. I guess I want to say it really doesn't matter what the record is. I'm going to say it really doesn't matter what the record is this year because this coach has earned the goodwill of that fan base and really of a lot of people.
So this is somebody who didn't leave. This is somebody who – it's Dan Lanning.
I like that answer.
No.
Huh.
I'm going to go Kenny Dillingham.
No.
Who is it?
Josh Heupel. Sorry.
Oh.
No, you're good.
Josh
You're
Heupel.
good.
Yeah.
Interesting quote from Paul there.
And then he moves on to say, we're talking about the short term because this college football season is underway at the moment, and Tennessee doesn't have a serviceable quarterback. So if they blow a bunch of games, fans will give him a pass, Feinbaum said. Ultimately, you have to win, but in the short term, I don't know of a college football coach who is more secure than Josh Heupel.
Honestly, it's fine. I buy that.
I'm of the belief that Paul is correct.
Yeah.
Anybody in Knoxville thinking that Josh Heupel is not your answer right now, I think you're misguided. That being said, there is a portion of that fan base that ain't like all belt like hunky dory right now. Now maybe the wrong aggregate accounts are popping up on my timelines, but there's a couple people that are like, "What in the hell? I didn't sign up for Joey Aguilar."
Here's what I'll say.
Now those people I don't think know anything other than the box score on Joey Aguilar, but I understand some of the skepticism.
Here's what I'll say. The approval rating of Josh Heupel is the second highest it's been in his career right now because of how he handled the Nico situation. You get the 2022 season, it's this guy is our next Phil Fulmer. We're going to win a national title with him. And now you're here where it's this guy is truly down for the cause of Tennessee and Heupel we trust. Like, he did so many wonders. And that was kind of a story that got lost in the translation of everything that went on with Nico. But everyone for a minute in time, whether you were a Georgia fan, a Florida fan, an Alabama fan, a Tennessee fan, loved Josh Heupel, was praising Josh Heupel for what he did. I think that move alone bought him a season, especially since the result of it all is that we lost our starting quarterback.
This is a football program that the 20 years prior to Josh Heupel averaged 7 wins per season.
Yeah, they were not good.
They're averaging 9.5 now under him.
People are saying he's the new Mark Richt.
Everyone does that.
Yeah.
Which I think is kind of a disservice to Mark Richt. I think you guys
I think Tennessee fans are getting into that range, or they will be soon, that Kirby was in like 18, 19, 20, early 2021, where it's like either win a title or you're not good enough. And it's incorrect thinking. It's not rational thinking.
Correct.
However, everyone gets applied to this. Well, he hadn't won a title, so he must not be good enough to do it. We better go get somebody else.
Like James Franklin.
Yeah, James Franklin gets this now. All of these coaches got it before they get their one win. And then they get it, and then everyone kind of backs off.
If there's anything I know, though, about Tennessee fans is that they're very much so, and I say just Tennessee fans, but this is a majority of college football fans of they're reacting to the moment. Whatever the moment is in that current stance of wherever we are, that's what they're reacting to. So in the offseason, it's fine and all hunky-dory to say that Josh Heupel is immune to anything right now. But if Tennessee does turn in a horrible season, Tennessee fans are going to be up in arms about it. I don't care who you are, especially, like, God forbid Nico has a good season at UCLA.
Oh, shit.
God forbid that happens.
Yeah, so, and again.
What if he looks like just ungodly? What if he's like the second coming of old Justin Herbert? That's, by the way, that if it works out the highest ceiling of Nico, that's what it looks like to me. I think it looks like Justin Herbert. Huh?
Oregon Justin Herbert?
Yeah. I mean, NFL. I like NFL Justin Herbert. Like,
Or I think people forget how.
Oh no, I that was when I was still doing NFL draft stuff. I was in love with Justin Herbert in college.
I thought
he was so tracy, but he was sporadic.
Yeah, he was all right.
Yeah.
But no, you're absolutely right. Like, this could get better for Josh Heupel. Like, let Joey Aguilar have a better season than Nico Iamaleava.
Oh, your love for
Josh Heupel's a genius. Josh Heupel saved Tennessee football. Let have it worse. Like, what you got going on there?
Jonte Cook going to Syracuse.
Ooh,
Man.
Fran cooking again. Must be about to take a shower.
getting clean again.
God, Fran's
The
gonna
boy washing up tonight.
Fran's getting washed, baby. But no, I think we are right in the regards to Josh Heupel is probably safe this season simply because of how your 2025 season kind of got swept out from under you because the quarterback wanted to go rogue and demand more money. And the way you handle it has gotten you goodwill with fan bases, other college football teams. Like, the sport in general thinks Josh Heupel did them a favor, so he's absolutely safe this year.
I guess the best thing about this, too, is even if you do turn in a bad season, Tennessee fans are not blaming Josh Heupel. they're blaming Nico.
Yeah.
That's who they're going to be pissed off at is like, man, if you would have been selfish, if you wouldn't have done all this stuff.
If nothing would have changed with their roster this spring, I would have been sitting here in August going, hey, man, they're going to scrap and claw for a ceiling of 10-2. Like they just didn't. They don't have a roster even with Nico. Even if they had the best quarterback in the country, I would look at that roster and go, "Ooh, a lot dependent on Mike Matthews here. Ooh, how are we going to replace not just James Pierce but the 2 NFL defensive tackles that you had as well? Ooh, the senior linebacker tore his knee up last year. I know y'all didn't play with him last year, but it's not like he's there anymore. Like, ooh, Jermon McCoy might not be healthy to begin the start of the season. Ooh, just lost the starting safety out of like." There's a lot around Tennessee right now that I could look at and go, you are going to scrap your way to 10-2. And I would have wiped my hands and said, what a great coaching job that head coach just did. If it changes in your 7-5, 8-4, you were a couple injuries away from that if you had a 5-star quarterback is what I'm trying to get across in my mind.
So what you're saying is Nico Iamaleava did Josh Heupel a favor.
I think Nico Iamaleava gave him some insurance on a bad season.
Did him a favor.
That's fair.
That's a fact.
You know, no different than if a starting quarterback at a national title contender next year tears his knee up week 1. Like the rest of the teams or the rest of the national media is going to be like, well, they get a pass. So-and-so coach gets a pass. If something happens to Dante Moore, like are we going to blame Dan Lanning for not making a national title for another year? I don't think we will.
I will.
You will? No. Big BJ Novak fan over there. I don't think his first name is BJ. Austin Novak.
I also don't think it's Novak. Yeah,
Novosad?
It's not Novosad.
Novosad.
Mm-hmm.
Ball knower. I was going to get there eventually.
I was reading up on him today.
Oh, yeah? Mm-hmm. What the Novosad notes tell you?
There was just someone making a point about how eventually Dan Lanning has to actually develop somebody and not take him out of the portal.
Ooh.
Yikes.
And they were saying, where's Novosad?
I would say that
BJ Novak's the guy from The Office, by the way.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, that's
I think that's BJ Novak.
Lieutenant Aldo Rain and the little man.
My bad.
Would you like to get to some fun news, Christian?
I want some fun news.
There's fun news? There's foos out there?
Yeah. Foos? Yeah. Yeah, but it's not fake.
Oh.
Just fun news. Clemson had a new addition to the football roster today, and it comes via the basketball roster.
Oh.
Ian Shefflin, who is the starting center for the Clemson Tigers the past 2 seasons, has elected that he is going to play college football this year for the Clemson Tigers.
What position?
No idea. I think people are saying tight end.
If he's a center, he's probably going to play wide receiver or tight end.
Unless he's like one of these college centers that's like 6'8", 305.
I mean, that's still, yeah.
Could be.
That guy's a tackle.
He is a big boy. But then it got to me thinking of top 5 basketball players that could play college football.
Is this like guys who actually did it or guys that you would want to come over and play?
I would pick and say, this guy
Okay, so this isn't like Antonio Gates or like Jimmy Graham. Those are like Power 5 basketball players that became not Hall of Fame, but All-Pro NFL players.
Yeah. I went top 5 college football players that could play basketball.
Like Julius Pep played basketball.
Yeah, and this was one of those happy incidences where one guy didn't get the part of the show notes and did the complete
Charlie
opposite.
Ward action here.
But I think it actually panned out to where it'll be an even better segment because we flip-flopped. So my 5 players that I would pick to go play football. Anthony Edwards, number 1. You got the confidence. You got the athleticism. You can do a little bit of everything. Swears he could go pro in the MLB.
By the way, Anthony Edwards, born to compete, player of the year in Atlanta here in DeKalb County in 6th, 7th, and 8th grade.
Yeah, him.
He got one of these. Little big boy ring.
So Anthony Edwards would be my first pick. Shaquille O'Neal, just because I want to see it. And it's got to be middle of career Shaquille O'Neal. I don't need pudgy Celtics Shaquille O'Neal. I obviously need – I'm just saying, man. You ever seen him in that Boston jersey? It didn't look too nice.
I'm just saying Big Baby Davis would be hell on counter and trap, dog.
Oh, that's a good pull, too. Big Baby Davis love. I like that. Number 3 is the obvious one, LeBron James. Obviously, he played in high school as well. He would be a freak. Number 4, De'Aaron Fox, one of the fastest guys in the league right now. He'd be my running back. He's just going to tote it all game long. And then my final one, he's a two-way player. He's playing both ways because I need it. I absolutely need this athleticism and his explosiveness on both sides of the football. Prime Russell Westbrook.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh, that is fun.
Put him at safety. Put him wherever you want on offense.
I thought we were going to go prime Zion Williamson. Tight end hybrid defensive end.
Prime Zion Williamson is just Darnell Washington.
Actually, maybe make him now Zion Williamson. Get a beefcake Zion Williamson playing football.
I think the thing, too, about...
Get him on them beignets.
I think the thing, too, about picking basketball players to play football, if something you don't take into consideration is They're the tallest guy on the field almost no matter who it is. Steph Curry's 6'3", and that's a massive human on a football field.
That is true. I went college football players that I thought would make good basketball players.
By the way, Steph Curry's the exact same size as Daniel Harris. So just to let you know.
Yeah. That checks out. Number 1 is Ja Jackson. I mean, this guy is kind of almost a basketball player converted to tackle.
For our national audience members who aren't diehard Georgia fans, Ja Jackson is a hybrid or a converted basketball player. Played on LeBron James's AAU team. He's 6'10", trying to play tackle now. Continue.
Number 2 is Bruce Ellington, running back for South Carolina in the early 2010s. He was also the starting point guard for their basketball team, so best of both worlds for him. Number 3, Travis Hunter, because, I mean,
what can't he do?
The kid does everything. Number 4, I went A.J. Brown. I feel like the height mixed with the athleticism there. And number 5, because you need an enforcer on the court, Ndamukong Suh.
I might go strictly social media. I've seen you dunk and play pickup hoops in the offseason. Give me Myles Garrett. Edge rusher, Cleveland Browns. Give me Jalen Carter. Fun story. Google Brooks Austin, Jalen Carter, Zion Williamson, and you will find a, like, what do you call it? Rock the cradle dunk from Jalen Carter at like 14 years old. It's pretty crazy. So give me that one. DK Metcalf, I've seen hoop. He can hoop. Give me this one. The white boy from Iowa plays for the Philadelphia Eagles.
Cooper DeJean.
Give me some Cooper DeJean.
Yeah.
Ooh, and my point guard, who's also going to be my shooting guard, Riley Leonard. Riley Leonard got nasty hoop.
Riley Leonard was going to be a
Riley
basketball
Leonard
player.
has nasty hoop tape. So there you go.
I like. Honestly, he might have drafted a better team than
Off
us.
cuff too. How about that?
Better than us.
A.J. Brown, by the way, would have been a phenomenal pick if this was baseball.
True.
Could have gone pro in baseball, like to play football.
But if you're good at baseball and you're good at football, you're probably good at basketball. Like just a natural athlete like that.
I don't know.
I mean, all right, Kyler Murray not so much, but
Yeah.
man, Kyler Murray bouncing the ball, dude.
I bet Kyler Murray's got at least like a 38-inch vertical.
Probably.
He's too twitchy not to be able to.
Oh yeah, for sure, but still.
I heard Lamar Jackson's a terrible hooper.
Okay.
That's interesting.
Yeah. I think someone said that in passing. A Ravens guy during media availability.
No Carson Beck love? Sneaky hooper.
I heard.
He's injured.
I heard he can score at the Y. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Played AAU all the way growing up.
He's injured, man. I can't
Yeah,
have that
kind
on
of doing
TV
the
right
sling.
now. Yeah, he can't hoop in a sling.
We'll see how good the left
Got to
is.
see
I
the
guess.
shot motion,
We'll
man.
see how good the left is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I guess so.
Allen Iverson's
he can
also
learn to
a
shoot
good
with his
pull, too.
left.
Allen Iverson's a great shout. He almost went to Virginia. He almost went to one of those schools up there to play football.
Mm-hmm.
Almost had to because he got. I watched the Allen Iverson documentary. Allen Iverson got a charge for assault because he threw a chair at someone during a bowling alley fist fight.
Oh,
Aren't those chairs bolted in?
No. He
Like the swinging ones?
He Bobby Knighted it. He Bobby Knighted that bitch.
Oh,
Yeah, he
sick.
Bobby Knighted that bitch.
Local
And somehow someone had it on camcorder. That's the only reason he got caught.
Camcorder.
Yeah, like the early 90s.
Getting caught in 4K before cell phones.
getting caught
Yeah.
on video during that time,
Yeah.
that's just wrong place, wrong time. Man.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that, Jay. Well, it's 9 o'clock. You know what that
Ooh.
means?
Time to talk that dog.
Time to talk to that dog.
Alrighty.
I cannot believe my laptop's still hanging. Welcome into Talk the Dog, the show where we find a bone to pick and a take to give. These are not hot takes. These is dog takes. Can I talk that dog? What's up? You really like that? Let's shut up and grind some tape. And so I drive over to the next school. Next school is supposed to start at like a certain time. They're nowhere to be found. I'm walking around. Hey, anybody practicing today? What's going on? Yeah, don't worry about it. We're gonna be out. So the second stop got what I needed out of it. So we're good
yeah.
there. But the first stop, that was on me though. I didn't read the fine print. I'm not known to pay attention to all the minor details. Welcome to the local hour. Go ahead, boys.
It is, in fact, the local hour. Jay, well, I'll let you take this one.
All right, we got a fun list of topics. First and foremost that we're going to hit on first here in a little bit, final thoughts on Jared Curtis. By the time we go live next time, Jared Curtis will have committed to his school of choice, so we're going to be getting our final thoughts there, letting you know maybe a little prediction or what however we're feeling about it. Then we're also going to dive into and look back on the 2022 recruiting class for Georgia. Now that those guys are draft eligible, we've gotten multiple years of production from those guys. We're going to talk about where were the hits, where were the misses, how did that class turn out for Georgia, or how is it turning out so far. We're going to continue factor cap into the local hour as well. Kirby wants to give a little bit of a take on Stetson Bennett. Going to hash something out, I guess, on that. Chris Doering gave a take that you guys are probably not going to be too fond of about Georgia and how they might be in some trouble. We got the wheel loaded up.
That article was about?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
We got the wheel loaded up with topics, and we got some fun tape that we're going to be watching tonight that you better stick around for.
Some fun tape.
All right, so first off, we'll just go ahead and dive into it. Jared Curtis committing on May 5th.
Hold on.
Kind of varying.
Cinco de Mayo.
Hold on. I think we should give Graham Houston his due first. I don't even know if it made the show notes because it happened right as the show started.
Oh, it did.
Graham Houston, interior offensive lineman at Buford, committed to the University of Georgia just before the show. I kind of let you guys know I was a little perturbed. I was caught off guard. Sources saying they were kind of caught off guard by this as well. There was no set timetable for this. There was no – obviously a takeable commit. They wouldn't have greenlit him if it wasn't allowed to have happened, but sounds like it kind of caught them off guard with regards to the timing. I think they expect this a little later down the cycle.
And this is an interior offensive lineman.
He plays
correct?
tackle in college or in high school. He's going to play guard in college, okay. I would imagine.
I don't want to ask this, especially on the day the kid commits, but correct me if I'm wrong. Traditionally, when that happens, when a kid commits and the team's kind of like, oh, we were surprised by this as well. Is that a good sign, or is that one of these? Yeah, it happens.
It happens. I think when you have 400 kids on your board every year, and you're down to take 28 every class, you're down to have some surprises every once in a while.
Okay.
Now I've seen them in years prior where a kid commits and it's like no Kirby tweet, no coaches acknowledge it, nothing happens. Everybody's just writing the articles about it, but there's no confirmation or affirmation from the coaching staff. That would be a, hey, what went on here? As soon as this kid popped, I saw Stacey Searles tweeting. I saw my man, director of high school relations, tweeting. I can't believe I'm forgetting his name right now. And you guys aren't helping me out here either. I didn't give you much help. Anyways, I saw a bunch of guys tweeting about it. So it was a takeable kid.
Kirby gave the tweet too.
Very high on their board, from what I know, and I just think it was the timing of it was a surprise, not whether or not the kid was going to be in the class. I understand the questioning though, but no, this was a kid that they wanted to take.
Listen, I hate to do that to like undermine his commitment.
Yeah, no, I know
Coach
what you're
Coop.
doing there. Coach Coop, shout out to the chat because I know it wasn't you.
Nope.
Sit in the chair one time.
Yeah, is he fired, by the way?
No, he won a coin toss. Fair and square.
You got to put stakes on the line, man.
I mean, if y'all had rock, paper, scissored and you would have won, fired.
See, I knew it. I knew JWill was the favorite.
I mean, I didn't say that.
You've implied it.
All right, let's take a look at the tape. By the way, we watched this tape a couple weeks ago when we started doing big board stuff, okay? When we started taking a look at the board and seeing how it was playing out. Now, we told you the in-state crop at offensive line this year in 26 ain't all that great. I would argue the in-state crop as a whole, not all that great, okay? They like this kid, and they like the kid from Sequoia as well from in-state. There's an offensive guard
Chiefs.
somewhere as well. So what?
I said go Chiefs.
Oh, I thought you knew the kid's name. I thought you were giving me something other than yay alma mater. Here we go, left tackle right here. That tight end's playing P5 football this year as well. This is Paul Mabinga. He committed to LSU last year. They got a bunch of dudes, all right? Now, that defensive tackle that I think he just gave a business to, no, never mind. This is the Michigan commit over here. That's Milton that they're playing, so that's a state-winning title football team. This is the first game of the year. That's a Berry. All right? I think our base is a little wide right here, Curb. I think our toes are pointed out. I think there's some things to coach up right here. Let's take a look right here from the start. See how our toes are kind of pointed out right here? Feet are real wide.
Yeah, not as powerful in that
Exactly.
stance.
We want to bring our feet in just a little bit outside of shoulder width. That way we can roll our hips, okay, and bring our belly button to our target. But that's how you fight and finish right there. And, yeah, we want to stay on top of them. We don't want to do none of this. I always hated watching offensive linemen do that. Pancake somebody and then pick their hands up like, I'm not holding them down on the ground. No, you are. You are. You better hold them
That's
on the
even
ground.
worse.
I
when
know.
you're doing
You earned it. Lay on his ass.
No, I'd rather you lay
Yes.
on me than put your hands up.
Yes. I'd rather rub his face mask in there. Give him something.
No, if you got your hands up, you're putting more weight on you.
All right, I want to see some more fire here as well. I want to see some more collision right here on the second level, okay? I do think we can get to the hip instead of the shoulder pad as well. But I do like that. You see how we got that left hand on that hip? Guys, if I hit you in your hip, that's where you're going to move and that's where you're going to bend, okay? That's a good job right there helping deliver that combination. Now, this second level, okay, I'd like to see us get screws to screws. I'd like to see us make contact with the screws of our helmet right there. That way we're a little bit more violent. But yes, you see the hands. There's the whoa. That's where the whoa comes from, that hand shock, okay? So we see it. I would have ventured to say, based off this one clip right here, if I had Graham Houston on the Zoom right now, I'd say, Graham, I bet you're a 350-pound plus bench presser. And he'd say, yes, sir, I am. Okay? That's where that comes from. That's why we need those power metrics, all right? You notice how many uni changes they got out there?
They do got a lot.
They don't keep the main thing the main thing. He better get used to wearing red and white, or red and white. Yeah, that's about it. A little QB sneak, a little touche push on the highlights. This against Benedictine. This edge rusher right here committed to Miami. He's already down there right now. And this nose tackle right here just committed to Miami as well, or Clemson. So these are some dudes that he's playing here, guys.
He has a very good body type.
Yeah.
Like he looks the part. It's not like there's bad weight on him that's a tough hit.
Let's see. That looks like Decula, if I had to guess.
It's a good reach step.
Yeah. That's the other thing, coming from a program like Buford, I know his footwork and the way he's been taught is going to be relatively clean. Okay, some of these kids that get recruited out of some other programs, like the idea that we're going to come in and on indies and teach you how to take a 6-inch zone step, like this kid's going to know that. Some of these other kids, I'm going to have to teach them, hey, we have to step over the board, we have to gain ground, we got to keep our foot north and south, right? We got to teach all these things with some of these other kids. This one, maybe not so much. But that's a two-pronged conversation, by the way. What?
We got to stop everything right now.
Big Super Chub?
Because Captain Jordan just donated, Super Chub, $100 to the show. Found the show just over a year ago. You guys put out the best UGA content out there, from one ball knower to another. Keep grinding.
Hey, certified. Is that Captain spelt out?
Yes, Captain Jordan.
Captain Jordan.
We appreciate you, Captain.
Thank you, Captain.
We're going to find Captain Jordan a spot right here. Okay? And we can always be seen. Captain.
The captain.
Jordan. Appreciate you, Captain. El Capitan. Here we go. Let's continue to watch this film. Oh, a two-pronged conversation, right? Just talked about, hey, this kid might come into college with clean tech, right? Clean feet, understand some of the coaching points that we're already going to teach him, right? That means it's a floor versus ceiling conversation, right? If I have a football player that comes into me and he's never really been coached, but he's got all the traits in the world, he's got a higher ceiling. He's going to be a better product faster, all right, than maybe a guy that comes in and has been coached out the wazoo. All right, now all we got left is physical development, right? We got to make him a better athlete. We're not going to make him much better of a football player, okay? These are conversations I never thought to have until I start sitting in some of these recruiting rooms where they have these guys up on the board, right? And we got, hey, player A is from school A, player B is from school B. Well, player A and player B have the same exact physical profile, but player A has already gotten a shitload of coaching. We might take player B, right? Because his ceiling might get better. All right, we got to make this kid as good of a physical prospect as we possibly can, because I already know, and I'm going to see it in a couple of days when I go watch him practice, this kid's been practiced hard. He's been coached hard. He's been taught up the right way.
Obvious pass pro stance here.
Yeah, they don't throw the ball a whole ton at Buford, so you fitting to get got. Yeah, that's okay.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's a
You can tell
street
he's
stance. He's pinning and pulling, okay? I think. I didn't see it. I was watching the backfield action. I guarantee you one of these point men is blocking down on that defensive end and we're pulling around. So let's see if we get some athleticism.
It's a hop
here.
step, yeah.
Yep. There we go. We got a skip step getting to I'd like to see you on that outside shoulder, but I don't care because we're finishing. That's Collins Hill again right there. That's a big-time program that just created a turnover. That's Benedictine again. Guys, what I do love about kids that come from Buford or any 7A school in the state of Georgia, I know they're playing dudes. You know what I mean? These are kids that I cover. These are kids that they might have to play against in college as well, okay? You get a decent, like earlier, he got a decent kick set on number 11 right there. That's a twitched up edge rusher, man. And guys, if anything, he's got a great first step. See no wasted movement on these steps either. Look how quick and pitter-pattery these things are. We get 3 in the ground before we even get hands onto the defensive lineman. Watch, 1, 2. We're already in our second step right here. 3, 4. All right, we're up to the second level through the hip. Guard projection for me. And every guard projection in the history of guard projections, the first thing I'm doing is teaching them how to snap to. Okay? There are no interior guards. There's interior offensive linemen, and you better be able to play all 3. I don't think this is quite yet a tackle projection. I'll get a better look on it when I actually see it back in person, okay? This is a football player that I've seen year over year. He's just taken a massive leap over the last 12 months.
What's the height and weight on him?
He's a 6'5", 300, isn't he?
Okay.
Yeah,
So, I mean, he's not your prototypical tackle build, but he's also not going to be viciously undersized should he go to that position.
No. He's not going to play tackle.
That's fine.
He's going to play guard. They got enough tackles in the room, man.
They do.
Need some interior guys.
All right, you wanted to talk about some quarterback or something?
Yeah,
yeah.
I think his name is
Something's happening?
Jacob.
Starts with a J.
Jared Curtis.
Jared Curtis. That's his name.
I think he's the number 1 quarterback in the country, deciding between Georgia and Oregon.
So they say.
Yeah, so they say. But yeah, set to commit on May 5th. Like I mentioned earlier, he will be committed to a school by the time we go live on Monday, so we'll be able to react to that. But just kind of wanted some final thoughts. I know that Christian and I, when we were having this conversation pre-show, we were kind of laughing at the fact that for so long, Georgia fans have talked about wanting the best quarterback in the class. Why can't we get 5-star quarterbacks to commit to us? And it seems like that this is setting up to be where if Georgia does land this one, there's going to be a lot of mixed reactions to this one, and especially from the people that we interact with on a regular basis, that being Georgia fans. There's going to be some groans maybe if Curtis does indeed commit to Georgia, just because of kind of how this has been built up.
So great lead up into the segment there. I wanted to give everyone a rundown of what's been happening over the last 3 days. So Bobo, per my sources, was in Oklahoma on Monday, saw Bo Bentley on Tuesday, saw Jared Curtis yesterday. Jared Curtis did not practice yesterday. That was an in-home visit, so they didn't get to see him practice, but they know what this guy is. They know who he is. The first inclination, I think the kid's gotten bigger based off what I've been told. It's an in-home visit. You're not watching him throw or anything, but you hadn't seen him in 6 months or one of the last time he's on campus. The big MFer was what I was told. So big kid. Sounds like the visit went really well. I will say this. I'm glad this is kind of not dragging, all right? I'm glad that Jared Curtis is making this decision May 5th because he's holding up everything. And at first, I think everybody else understood. I think Bo Bentley understood. I think Jaden O'Neal understood. I think every other quarterback on the board understands that's the big boy. Everybody's waiting on him. However, I do think there's becoming some I think it's waning on those other kids. I think at some point there's going to be hey, you didn't really want me, but I don't think they're going to have to deal with that because it's happening in the next 6 days or 5 days, 4 days. It's happening in 4 days. So I think they're going to avoid any of that backlash. And if you miss on Curtis, I still think you got Bo Bentley pretty well secured.
And I think, if I remember correctly, Arch Manning was a July commitment or maybe at the beginning of August. And that was kind of something that felt like kind of backfired on Georgia because you were waiting on Arch. And despite the fact that he did commit in the summer, you were still having to wait for a while before you were able to go after anybody else.
And that was handicapped worse because Manning's camp let everybody know if you're recruiting us, you're recruiting nobody else. So they weren't able to recruit Dylan Lonergan. You know what I mean? They weren't able to recruit Marcel Reed. They weren't able to recruit any the kid from Vizina. They weren't able to recruit Christopher Vizina in that class of 2023 because everyone had to be all in on Arch. And the only two schools that went all in on Arch were Texas and Georgia. And Texas ends up getting them. Georgia ends up holding the bag. And that's why in 2024 they were like, screw it. We'll try to sign both Puglisi and Raiola. And we'll try to get them both because we're light in the room. And guess what? They're still light in the room. It still feels like they are that way right now. I don't think they will ever treat a recruitment like that ever again, where it's, yeah, son, we'll put all our eggs in your basket, and if you leave us holding an empty basket, oh well, we're screwed.
Yeah.
I don't think they'll ever go back to doing that. I think they learned too many lessons.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't, like I said, it doesn't just set you back that year. It sets the room back almost 2 years.
Yeah.
I mean, they were still trying to get that fourth body last year.
Kirby, If Gunnar Stockton wasn't automatically the guaranteed starter right now, I bet money they'd have been in the portal this spring.
Probably.
I mean, they were still flirting around with Fernando Mendoza.
Yeah. I mean, I understand why they did it. I would have probably done the same thing, but I feel like they've been playing catch up for a while now.
Yeah.
Do you think the Nico Iamaleava situation is part of what's scaring teams from Jared? Fans.
Yeah,
from Jared
it's a
Curtis?
great correction right there. I don't think fans give a shit. I think fans are looking at, or teams are looking at this 5-star, and they've seen him throw in person, and they're like, I'll wage whatever I need to. I'm going to push all the chips in on this one. That's the way Oregon and Georgia have approached this, and those are two programs that if they make a decision on the recruiting trail, I trust that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like everything has played out that way, that they deserve that level of unwarranted trust. But from a fan base perspective, like even as a media member, it concerns me.
Mm-hmm.
Like the idea that, let's say the number's $2.5 million. I don't know what it is. Let's say it's north of $2 million. I know that for a fact. Let's say it's just north of $2 million right now, just to get him on campus. Okay? So I'm paying him $2 million. Let's say that's 15% of the salary cap. That's low, by the way. It's going to actually be, most of these quarterbacks agents are close to demanding 25% of the salary cap nowadays, by the way, because they think just because that happens in the NFL, it should happen on this level too. But that's where we're going, nonetheless. Let's say you get him for $2 million. He's 15% of your salary cap. How long on your roster can that kid reasonably sit before you feel like you're financially obligated to play him?
You get one season. But
right?
then again,
we get
like,
to redshirt him. We
well,
get to sit him for a year.
But if it's not right, it's right. And it's, sorry, son, you'll have to enter the transfer portal.
Yeah.
Like, I think that Georgia, and we're getting way down the road here, but I think if Jared Curtis steps into Athens, Georgia, and he's not ready to take the reins come whenever, it's more likely that they'll go, listen, kid, it's not working out here than they would. We gotta get this guy
don't
out
want to
here.
make this just a Georgia. This is an Oregon discussion too.
Absolutely.
And almost even worse because like Oregon doesn't have 85 blue chippers. They got 60 high-end blue chippers, right? We've talked about their recruiting strategy. Their recruiting strategy is sign Dakarian Moore, sign 5-star tackle, sign 5-star defensive tackle, sign 13 kids, go get 14 out of the portal. That's what they're doing on an annual basis because it's Oregon. Their 5-hour radius is not what most of these other schools are, so they're not going to recruit 28 blue chippers like a Georgia or an Ohio State or an Alabama will. So it's a multifaceted discussion here. I asked that, how long do you have to wait, right? And you're right. You make the decision within a year. If he's not good enough to start year 2, he's probably dead weight on the finances anyways. We'd probably let him go somewhere, right? Mm-hmm. But that's that case, right? But let's say we play him, right? And now we play him and he plays good.
Oh, you're getting a raise.
You're getting a raise, right? Mm-hmm. Kid's going to get a raise. Agent's going to demand a raise. So now what was a heavy cost and gamble up front finally paid off, and now we got to double down. That's what scares me.
Yeah.
On top of the fact, like I've had this discussion, on top of the fact that it is a lottery ticket. It might be a 50% chance that it's going to hit, but there's still that 50% chance that it won't. And that also scares me.
Yeah.
So I think that I would probably approach it as can we find that quarterback that's Super Bowl caliber on a rookie deal? Not can we go sign the 5-star that we don't know that's 25% of our salary cap. Mm-hmm. All that being said, never seen the kid throw.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But everyone else is willing to throw 2-point whatever at it once they see him throw.
But again, it's a risk also to where if you say, nah, we're good, we're going to back off of this, we're going to go with other kids, and Jared Curtis goes out and he becomes Joe Burrow, Johnny Manziel, name any Heisman-winning number 1 overall pick, you look like the idiot there.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where it's a risk either way. It's the game you play in college recruiting nowadays where sometimes you have to pay for what you believe in. Georgia clearly believes in him. Oregon clearly believes in him. They're willing to pay the money, so you have to trust that.
And look, like
they understand the risk.
The surety rates on Curtis are obviously, they think that they're higher, right? So just because you might get Bo Bentley or Jaden O'Neal for a cheaper price, it doesn't mean they're not just as much of a gamble because they might not be as good. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So I understand part of it. The ones I don't get are when – we talked about it the other night. The tackle asking for $1.2 million to me is insane, especially if we're like a right tackle who some people are like, he might be a great guard.
Yeah.
Estalomo might be a great guard. I've been watching too much George Lopez.
Do you think, though, that I understand that part of the reason why there are a variety of opinions on Jared Curtis is because of the amount of money that you're having to allocate into
I think
this?
it's that, and we don't know.
Yeah, and
Like, there's so much we don't know
and
about
it's the
kid.
film. It's the
that.
lack
It's
of
also
From an
unknown.
outsider's perspective, that's what it is, because that's what we are right now, and it's byproduct of the way that they've handled this recruitment. Most people that aren't inside the buildings, that aren't at Georgia and Oregon, we have no idea what the full picture is. We don't have junior tape. We won't see him throw on the camp circuit. He's not playing 7-on-7. He's playing single A high school football in Brentwood, Tennessee. Most people aren't going up there to see those. I guarantee you On3's camped out this year because it's right down the road. That being said, there's a lot of this that, from an outsider's perspective, we just don't have enough information, which is creating a lot of this skepticism.
Yeah, but also, like, I kind of think back to this is kind of how some people felt about Arch Manning. He was a top quarterback in the class. He was playing some very weak competition in high school. You go and watch the film, and he's playing a bunch of Timmys and Tylers. But I think the biggest difference between those two, to draw a comparison, is that Arch was willing to wait.
Yeah.
And you were able to keep him on the roster while sitting behind Quinn Ewers. Maybe you don't feel the same way about this one. But then here comes Bo Bentley. You go and watch his high school film. Oh, he's playing in the state of Texas. Oh, he's playing high-level comp. Oh, the film looks fantastic. Oh, Georgia likes him too now. They're in on him. Now it's like the fans feel like that's the more assuring pick because you can see it. You can watch it. Georgia likes him. Other big schools like him. But with the Curtis, it's, hey, Georgia really likes him. Oregon really likes him, and they're willing to pay him a bunch of money. But as for us, it feels so questionable because we don't know.
I think there's also a part that we're kind of forgetting about from the Georgia fan standpoint. They just had a quarterback who presumably lived the high life, had a, TikTok famous girlfriend, drove a sports car, was kind of this flashy figure, and it did not go well in the 2024 season.
Add on top of that, the guy who won 2 titles was a walk-on, and you're in a nightmare fuel situation. We don't need these.
Combine that with the fact that you're now heavily pursuing a 5-star who has a Corvette, and, there's a lot of money being thrown around that, and he's presumably kind of the next star. I think that scares the shit out of a lot of Georgia fans. Mm-hmm. Understandably so, because you don't want to get burnt again. And you say, well, we just had the sports car driving quarterback. We don't need any more of that. Give me the blue-collar Texas guy that doesn't.
Dude, it's a $110,000 vet. Let's not act like
And
it.
there's a bunch of college athletes that drive a nice car. They may not.
Bro.
Yeah, I know. It was kind of a,
It
was a throwaway.
There's a bunch of athletes that drive nice cars. They may not be plastering on their social media, and they may not have one when they're in high school. But, I mean, come on, guys. This isn't the first college football player to drive a really nice car. And there's plenty of them that drive nice cars and play really well.
True. I got the chat arguing about Jackson Cantwell, asking for a comp. I don't really have one for him. I was thinking like a hybrid between Ben Cleveland and Isaiah Wilson.
Okay.
That's what I got going on.
Okay.
I'm like 6'7", 335, pick and stick right tackle. That's what I got going on. I don't think he has the foot speed to be a great left tackle. I think this is the way I explained it to a source at Georgia. Jackson Cantwell to me is a post playing, like, I can put you on the block barbecue chicken center, whereas left tackles need to be scoring point forwards or power forwards. You see what I'm saying? That's the type of athleticism required to play left tackle. Right tackle, much more road grady, much more gritty, much more this dude's tough and physical. 1.2 though, you're paying that guy to be Joe Thomas. I don't think he's Joe Thomas.
Nice.
But to counter that too, like we just got done talking about the current state.
Lane Johnson's not a good comp. Lane Johnson's the freakiest tackle in the NFL right now. I'm pretty sure Lane Johnson ran 4.85 at the combine. Somebody looked that up. 6'5", 310 pounds, ran 4.85 at the combine. Lane Johnson is a freak. He's an alien on the planet. I don't think that's a good comp.
I think too, though, like, and this isn't to excuse anything, but we just got done talking about the 2026 class and what the current offensive line class is. So Jackson Cantwell is the number 1 prospect in the country. He's the number 1 tackle. But he might not be Joe Thomas, but you feel like you're paying Joe Thomas money for a college athlete.
4.72.
Yeah, 4.72. Say that out loud. 4.72.
4.72.
At 310 pounds plus?
Yeah, that's insane.
Lane Johnson, not the comp. Okay.
But again,
let's not do that.
You're paying $1.2 million, maybe not because he is the next great offensive tackle or one of the next greatest of all time, but because maybe compared to the other class, the rest of the class, he is that to these guys. So to pay for that in this class, you do have to pay that much money.
I've been on the record. I'll say it with a microphone in front of my face. If I'm buying a lottery ticket at offensive tackle this year and I'm paying whatever it takes, second highest paid contract in this class, go give it to Emmanuel Iheanacho. Emmanuel Iheanacho, I think, squatted 600 pounds yesterday. He's a freak. And he moves like a freak.
And he cut Georgia from his list.
But not, 1.2 get you back in the list, I'd imagine.
Oh, sure, yeah. Those things can change.
So, but no, they both might be great players. Cantwell's floor is a lot higher than Iheanacho's, in my opinion. The ceilings are different.
Speaking of might be great players, the 2022 class has entered its draft eligibility season. And we kind of wanted to go back and just recount this and go over all the kind of misses or hits from this class. It's a very interesting class because there are some absolutely astronomical home run grand slam hits. Hello, Jalen Walker. Hello, Mykel Williams. Hello, Malachi Starks. And there's a couple of them that are misses, as you'd expect in a class, but there's a lot of caveats that I have on this list. So I went through and ran the numbers. There were 30 total commits in this class, including one transfer. Of those 30 commits, 10 are bona fide hits. That was a great pickup. You did a right job there. 14 were misses, but I have 6 that are kind of on the fringe. First one is Julian Humphrey. Me and JWill could not decide if Julian Humphrey was a miss or not because you got starting play out of him for 2 seasons roughly. He entered the transfer portal, and he was good enough for your team to come in and say, hey, we will do what it takes to get you back on this roster. He was worth that from a talent standpoint. He started for you multiple games this season. It just so happened that he lost the starting job about midway through. I'm not willing to say that Julian Humphrey was a miss. He definitely wasn't a hit, but he's kind of that 50-50 range. I also have Cole Speer on this list. Cole Speer has been a very, very solid wide receiver for you. He's been a really good special teams player. You always hear great things about him on practice and spring games.
Stop. When Cole Speer committed to Georgia, what would you have expected and played out his career in your mind?
Well, Cole Speer was a walk-on.
Okay.
Right.
But even without that knowledge.
Cole Speer was one, and look, this happens in every class. There's 3 or 4 of them in every class. There are basically celebrated walk-ons. They get the Go Dogs tweet. Everybody says, yeah, great job. We got another Willad McConkey project. But, yeah, this was just like some other ones. But this kid's way overplayed the investment. You know what I mean?
That's what I'm saying.
He's way overplayed the investment.
And that's what I was getting at is like when Cole Speer committed, sure, you might have said those types of things of another Lad McConkey project, but you kind of probably
Sorry. I'm just remembering how bad some of these offensive line takes were. In this
class.
Yeah.
We're going to get to that. We're going to get to
Don't
that.
worry, we'll get there.
Boy, I got receipts on some of you, too. I got receipts. Go ahead.
So I'll say you're 11 for 30 then, because Cole Speer, I put in
Cole
the hit.
Speer, I'd say is a hit based on
hit.
what you thought you were going to get out of him. I'd say it's a hit.
Ja'Cory Thomas and Gunnar Stockton haven't started enough games. They're still meat on the bone for them. They could absolutely become hits, but hasn't panned out yet just because they haven't had playing time. So it's TBD. Marvin Jones Jr. is one that I have interesting. Marvin Jones Jr., for all extensive purposes, is a miss. You didn't get the production you wanted to out of him. He transferred to Florida State. He's obviously not going to – it doesn't seem like he's going to do favors for his draft stock. I am of the belief, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, Brooks, if Marvin Jones Jr. was still on Georgia's roster, never transferred to Florida State, he would be a top 3 round pick.
I mean, yeah, off of pedigree alone.
I mean, but
and
still.
he'd be playing right now.
He'd be playing. Even if he didn't enter the draft this year, which we would expect him not to simply because of the lack of buys you have in that room, Marvin Jones would absolutely be a 2026 projection for a top 2 rounds.
Marvin is entering the territory of looks like Tarzan, don't play like Tarzan.
Plays like Jane.
I didn't want to say that. Just doesn't play like he looks. He doesn't play like he looks. And I think they were giving him run early on to hope that maybe one day he plays like he looks. And I think Florida State thought the same thing. I think Oklahoma's thinking the same thing right now. So I don't know. I'm in the I don't know. I can't sit here and tell you he would have been a 3rd round pick at Georgia because at this point, if you still look like Tarzan and not playing, Quintavious Johnson's going to be playing because he can play. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't know that to be fact.
So, yeah,
think some of that's, he wears the G, he's going to be a top 90 pick. I don't know that.
Yeah, and again, that's why he's on a miss on this list.
Yeah.
But I think that this is one of the bigger.
Especially considering it's a top 20 player coming out of high school.
Mm-hmm.
He's been a miss.
I guess the best thing about it is since he's at Oklahoma, he's at least in a spot where if it's going to work out, it'll work out there. I mean, Venables you'll be a great defensive player if you're going to be a great defensive player at Oklahoma.
Yeah, if you've got traits, he'll find a way to use them.
And then the final one I have that is kind of a miss, but I don't calculate it as one, is Branson Robinson.
Yeah.
Branson Robinson coming out of high school in his freshman year was everything that you recruited him and you thought he was. He was the next power back for you. He was
You missed one.
Who'd I miss?
You don't think Marcus Washington was a miss?
No, these are
These are the questions.
These are the questions.
Oh, my bad.
We'll get to the rest.
Yeah, we'll get to
these
the
were
rest.
up in the air. So
Yeah,
okay.
these are the
Okay.
are they a miss or not? I don't think Branson Robinson was a miss. Obviously, it's not a hit. The last 2 seasons hasn't really seen the field. He's now playing at Georgia State. But Branson Robinson was everything you thought he was coming out of high school.
Yeah.
And he was everything you thought he was his freshman season. Injuries happen, and you can't control that. That sucks for him, absolutely. But I don't think that's a recruiting miss from Georgia's standpoint.
Fair.
So that's kind of who I have for the 6. Are they hits or misses? And we just upgraded Cole Spear to a hit. So you're 11 out of 30 on that recruiting class. The other
bad.
14 are.
We can start listing them off.
Let's start going the misses, JWill.
All right. C.J. Washington was one.
Oh, I would have went in order based off ranking, so
Well,
I'll
that's-
go through them.
I just have it on.
No, you're good.
Jaheim Singletary.
Jaheim Singletary. Dude, that corner tape alone, his corner tape looked like Travis Hunter's corner tape.
I remember watching it, yeah.
I mean, it was insane. Little did we know, just didn't want to work. Just didn't.
Is he still at Arkansas?
I think so. Not play. I don't think he's playing very much.
Then we have C.J. Washington.
Then C.J. Washington, medical. That's not on anybody.
No.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, didn't he break his neck?
It was something serious. Very
Something with his
serious.
he has spinal injury.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah, we can't be out
I
here
forgot about
labeling
that. So that's another non-miss. That's
it's just off to the side.
Bear Alexander.
I mean, he didn't miss for you. He started he played as a freshman.
He did play.
And got burned.
Mm-hmm.
Major burn. But didn't. That's off over here. That's an NIL college story.
Yeah.
That's not a did it work.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to work because of all the other shit.
Yeah, would
Not
you
'cause
class-
that dude's going to be a 3rd-round draft pick this year. I hope y'all know that.
Oh yeah.
He's going to play for 5 or 4 different colleges, commit to 3 of them in high school, play for 4 different high schools, and be a 3rd-round pick. Should have been a top 20 eval.
Yeah.
That's how good that kid is.
I was glad to see that he chose to go to Oregon. And
Yeah.
go to a school like that, play for Dan Lanning, and ended on a good note. Darius Smith, now he transferred to Missouri, tore his knee before the start of the season
Yeah,
last
man.
year, so really haven't gotten to see it yet. But
I had a conversation about Darius yesterday with a SEC coach that I bumped into. He was talking about how I think the state record in the 400 right now is 41 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
Darius Smith ran 44 seconds in the 400 at 6'6", 225 pounds at a 2A high school in Southeast Georgia. Can you imagine being a little Timmy from Riverwood running next to that in the 400?
That'd be
The
terrifying.
videos of it are hysterical. He looked like an alien. Dropped on the earth, running the 400. But yeah, this was my guy coming out of high school. I thought he was going to be hit.
I hope it works out for him at Missouri.
The wide receiver tape's insane.
Oh, I didn't even know he played wide
Yeah,
receiver.
he played high school wide receiver. He's got chase down blocks in basketball. Yeah, I thought it was going to be a thing for sure.
Marcus Washington.
See, that's on him, I think. That kid reclassed, had no business doing it.
yeah.
Had no business doing it. Now, I understand why he did. You get a committable offer from the University of Georgia. They're thin on bodies. They tell you, hey, we'll take you now if you want to come. And your dad played there. I'm done with high school. Let's go. Louisville. I think he transferred out of Louisville again.
I don't know where he's
It's
at
been
now.
bouncing around for Marcus.
C.J. Madden, who is still with Purdue, I believe.
This I call the Will Anderson take. Little intel on why they took C.J. Madden out of high school. C.J. Madden went to a KSU mega camp, which used to be a massive thing. I think it's still pretty big.
They were huge when I was in high school.
We'll see if I go this year. I don't think I went last year. But anyways, went to a KSU mega camp and measured in at 6'3" and a quarter, 242 pounds, ran 4.78 in the 40. And that popped up on their radar, and somebody in the recruiting staffer, it was right around NFL Combine time, and they slap up Will Anderson's NFL Combine metrics, and they are verbatim on paper to C.J. Madden. And I don't know if Georgia fans will remember this, but you guys might not. And I don't know if everyone else at home is, so I will remind you. Will Anderson went to Alabama because Georgia did not recruit him.
Correct.
Yep.
Not early enough. And then Will Anderson turns into a 5-star, and Will Anderson goes on to be a first-round draft pick, and Will Anderson works out in the NFL, and Georgia's sitting there going, damn it, if we had just gone down to McDonough a little bit earlier and gotten in on this one a little bit earlier, we might not have missed. That's why they took C.J. Madden. And it didn't turn out like Will Anderson, but they were willing to take the lotto ball on a guy who was, 20th in their class that year and was at a school in Cedar Grove that they were recruiting like crazy at the time.
Yeah. Denylon Morissette.
Unfortunate.
Quite a few factors into that one.
Yeah. Polished coming out of high school.
Yeah.
3 high schools, though. St. Francis, Brookwood, North Cobb.
Okay.
I mean, it's the only thing it didn't make sense that he didn't go to Georgia. I thought he was going to go to Georgia be a pro. Like, just grind it out. Honestly, the comp in high school, if I remember correctly, for me, was Karis Jackson. He did not handle his business like Karis Jackson at the University of Georgia.
He did not.
Had he done that, I think things would have panned out a little bit better. Now, that being said, he would have been looking up at the rest of that room right about now and going, where in the hell am I going to be playing?
Yeah, that's
So-
true.
But I mean, if you establish yourself, like Karis Jackson had to fend off some of these guys in the latter part of his career.
And if you do everything right at Georgia, Kirby's going to play you.
Sure.
He's going to be itching to play you.
Being a reliable asset for the Georgia wide receiver unit is so valuable.
Yeah,
EJ Lightsey, who I believe is playing for Georgia Tech.
he is. I don't think this is a miss. I think the room's overcrowded.
Yeah.
You took him for an extra body in the room, and he turned out to be like a dude.
And
Like
didn't he have
his
some
practice stuff's insane.
Didn't he have like stupid track numbers too?
No, he got shot.
Well, I did know that, but I thought that he had. Maybe I'm misremembering him.
No, not crazy track numbers. CJ was the sub-11 guy. This is
Okay.
a kid from Fitzgerald High School.
Yeah.
I shot his commitment video originally to Florida,
Okay.
and then 6 months later took a bullet in the spine. Playing pickup hoops with his brother.
Cool world we live in.
Stupid.
CJ Smith, who you just mentioned, the wide receiver.
Yeah, that was one even coming out of high school. I was like, ooh. You know what this is? This that Todd Monken,
I was about to
everybody's
say,
Deshaun Jackson thing.
Yep.
Yeah, every kid's going to be the next Deshaun for me. I'm just going to take a burner. But, hey, Coach, he's never played more than 5 high school games in a season. Don't worry about it.
Yikes. Now it's about to get a little juicy, I would imagine. Alu Ba.
Yeah, that was if my memory serves me correctly, I don't think Aluba started at IMG until his last year.
Let me see if he's playing at Maryland.
This is the last Matt Luke class, by the way.
This was when Matt Luke was
Because we're going
like,
to get into some Jacob Hood, and we're going to get into some Griffin
He started all 12
Scroggs.
games at right guard for Maryland this past
Yeah.
season.
Yeah.
So that's good.
this is when Matt Luke was like,
Talking about that
I don't
F
feel like
attitude.
recruiting.
This was Matt Luke right here. I'm going to win 2 titles, but don't y'all expect me to sign nothing.
I don't feel like recruiting.
I don't really
I don't
feel like
feel like it.
Yeah, I don't feel like
Give me that 6'8" guy up there at Tennessee. Coach, Tennessee doesn't even want him. Don't care. We'll take him.
Shone Washington.
Yeah, big, massive nose tag. This is my guy coming out of high school. I loved the tape. I think he's from Warren Easton.
He is.
Do you have a hit rate on your My Guys?
I don't. They're not too high. But the ones I hit on, I'm going to let you know. They're actually pretty high. I think it's like a 75% hit rate.
Okay, that's good.
And it's not like I allow myself to do the blue chippers. So it's
yeah,
harder
yeah,
on
yeah.
me, right? I mean, I'd be 100% hit rate if I could take the guys that I actually knew a fact
Especially
would
in this
hit.
class.
I mean, all of them.
Jalen Walker, Michael Williams, Malachi Starks.
I mean, shit. The first 10 guys in this list, it's like, yeah, there's no doubt they're going to work.
Jacob Hood.
Yeah, that was the big fella from Tennessee that I was like, ooh.
Who's at
I didn't have
Syracuse?
Yeah, I think he just transferred to Syracuse after not playing at Nebraska.
I'll check on
No. You're thinking of Joshua
Miller
from Baylor School. This is a different big kid out of Tennessee. This was a kid when he committed to the University of Georgia I didn't have headshots of, despite the fact that I'd seen him at 3 different camps.
He saw action in 2 games as a reserve last season.
Do you know how bad you have to be at a camp to be 6'8" and me refuse to take a headshot of you?
Damn.
I would assume pretty bad. Did we talk about Andrew Paul?
No, we didn't.
No.
This one is just kind of really just unfortunate in my opinion. I transferred to
Jack State.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's at Jacksonville State.
okay.
Is he still there, or is he?
Did he transfer out of there?
Not
I
know
didn't
he
think
played
that's where
last
he
year for
initially
them.
transferred to.
Did he play?
No, he transferred from Georgia to Jacksonville State and played for Rich
Oh
Rod.
yeah, Jacksonville State. Yeah,
He had not a lot of carries.
he didn't play
know
a
what?
lot.
I think he got messed up. It's not his fault. He had one of those classic decent spring games at Georgia on television, and everyone thought he was great. And that was that. And everybody's like, oh, I felt like the narrative on him when he committed to Jacksonville State, people felt like disappointed.
Yeah.
Like, oh, it's Jacksonville State. It's like, no, he doesn't have an in-game tape.
Mm-hmm.
Neither does, like, Branson's banged up. He doesn't have a ton of in-game tape.
Yeah.
So you end up at a mid-major.
Well, I think also, like, you heard so many things about him.
Yeah.
And the inklings were, hey, if this guy gets the fumbles under control, he's a solid running back for Georgia.
Facts.
Yeah.
And then you saw that come to fruition in the spring. It was like, Andrew Paul has arrived. Like, we're here. He's going to dominate the season. It was like, wait, he's entering the transfer portal? And then it was, wait, he's going to Jacksonville State? What's going on here? So,
And
unfortunate.
The final one of the class, Griffin Scroggs.
Yeah. He's at App State now.
Yeah.
He's going to play this year, I think.
He appeared in 10 games last year, starting at left guard, made 3 straight
Ooh.
starts to open the season, then started back-to-back games against Louisiana and Georgia State.
Interessante.
What?
Might have a new high school getting added to the schedule tomorrow.
One you would be willing to disclose on
Yeah,
there?
Norcross. But Carter Lucky's not practicing this spring. He's got an injury. So we might just go to find the next guy. I found one today.
Did you?
Yeah. I don't know if he's gonna be like big time, but he's already 14 years old, got a full arm sleeve of tattoos and an SEC offer.
Oh.
Yeah. My man Kingston Brown from Carver, Columbus. He gonna be a
Sounds
guy.
like an SEC football player.
Yeah, 6'3", 270 already as a 14-year-old.
Oh, my God.
Good Lord.
Picked up an offer from South Carolina in January. Big kid.
Oh, my
It's
gosh.
going to be big. I also really, really love the edge rusher down there, Tristan. What's Tristan's last name? Give me 1 second.
Thompson.
No. Good try, though. I got in a text message with the coach I was talking to. Give me 1 second. Givens. Tristan Givens. I got an article coming out tomorrow. Down between Florida State, USC, Tennessee, and Texas A&M was there today to see him. Now, here's what I love about Tristan. Tristan's a 4-star. He's really, really highly touted. Like I just mentioned, he's going to go to a big Power 5 school. That kid's got 30 pounds waiting on him the day he arrives in college.
From muscle?
Yes. I mean, he is going to swell up like a tick the moment he gets to school. It's so obvious. You can see it in him. The other thing about him, state record in the long jump right now, 24 feet in the state of Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
He is 215 pounds, 6'3.5", plays edge rusher. He's going to be an SEC Power 5 edge rusher. He's jumping 21 feet right now in the long jump.
Lord.
And the funniest thing about it, he walked away. I asked him 21 feet, and the teammate next to him was like, dude, he don't even get close to the board. He's just running and jumping. He has no idea what he's doing.
Just being an athlete.
Yeah, he's just being an athlete, and he's going to qualify for state.
I love hearing stories like that and just remind you how
I got more nuggets on it when we get done.
how inferior you are athletically.
I'm big time on Tristan Givens because whatever you're looking at, like I saw him in the state championship game last year, and I was like, not quite big enough. Not quite big enough to be like a top 80 guy, like a top 75 guy. But I didn't realize until I walked up on him today, shook his hand, that, like I said, that kid's he's going to look at a college nutrition plan and gain 10 pounds.
Good, man.
Well, since we're on the topic of recruiting in Georgia, building up these classes, maybe some misses, some departuring of the roster, Chris Doring had an interesting quote about Georgia.
Before we do that, why don't we have our man over here spin the wheel a time or two?
I just got into the intro, man.
Man, I really love Brian Baldinger's work, but can we not be out here tweeting out Desmond Watson videos? I mean,
maybe
Jesus
just
Christ.
go in the
So
door.
nobody wants
Maybe
to
just
segment.
go to the door.
You don't want it. He don't. Exactly. Exactly. I was doing a killer intro.
What to what?
No, yeah.
No,
go,
no,
do
no,
the
no,
door.
He's over here crapping on 450-pound defensive tackle.
Do the dooring. Do the dooring.
Okay.
Doring, worried
talking
about
about-
Georgia?
Yes.
Let's
And
do it.
All right.
Let's do it.
So this is a quote from Chris Doring. We're seeing the things we haven't seen from Georgia before. We're seeing the inability to retain a roster, Doring said. They were one of the last schools to be able to keep their team in place and have the kind of depth that you have to win championships the way Alabama did, the way that Georgia did. They were hurt last year at the middle of their defense with injuries and not having that next wave of players to be able to step in. We're seeing things from Georgia where they go and they get manhandled by Ole Miss the way that they did. We're seeing them get physically beaten the way that they did by Notre Dame in the Sugar Bowl. These are things that are signs of concern, and knowing what the landscape of college football is now, we don't know if it can sustain in this type of environment.
The retaining of the roster, what's he talking about?
That I don't know. That was
my question,
That was
too.
the one where I was
Also,
like,
kept their roster together later. They played later into the season than everybody but 5 schools.
mm-hmm.
And two, I think it's worth mentioning that while you did get out-physicaled by Notre Dame, you were banged up on the offensive line. You were starting your backup quarterback. I mean, there was a reason. There were some reasons why you maybe got manhandled in that football game.
Are we getting to a time period in Georgia football where people are rushing to the take of it's over?
Yeah.
Maybe, yeah.
This happens.
I mean, this happened in 2000.
Paul did it to Clemson last year.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
People have been doing it at Clemson for 3 or 4 years.
people did it to Saban in 2014.
Yeah.
After they lost, dude, I think people forget how out everyone was on Saban. Like the media was on Saban after Urban Meyer went and beat them in the Sugar Bowl.
Yeah.
Or whatever it was.
SEC championship game, wasn't it?
Well, no, you don't play Ohio State in the Sugar Bowl.
Oh, you said Urban Meyer. I was thinking Florida. There was that time there he was coaching the Gators.
Yeah, no, that was like 2008 and 9. Though. But no, I'm talking like people were absolutely like, Saban's done. It's over after the 2014 season.
Fraud.
You stuffed him into the grave before his final season even
To be
started.
honest, he had a leg in it. To be honest, there was
Yeah.
a foot in the grave coming off that field against South Florida.
That's
And
fair.
I said that, and that was his last football season. I would remain that was a good take.
No, it panned out for you.
So, hate me if you want.
Buddy was washed literally by the rain.
I'll never forget watching him come off. I was like, he's done.
He's done.
This
He's
man is
finished.
so tired.
Bama's over with.
What was it? Tape?
2017 Notre Dame.
Ooh, this is a fun one. This is the Terry
DeAndre
Godwin.
Swift hurdle game. Oh no, this is the one on the road, isn't it?
Yeah,
No, yeah.
DeAndre
This is the
Swift
one
hurdle
on
game is
Snag.
2019. Yeah,
Terry Godwin.
This is we sold out South Bend.
yep.
Mm-hmm.
We saw it
and
South
took over
Bend.
the Cubs game the night
and the
before.
airplanes.
Also,
Yeah.
this was Jake Fromm's first start as a Georgia Bulldog. This was also the game where I realized McCole Hardman was going to be a elite prospect at wide receiver for you.
This was also 2 years prior to Georgia fandom getting just like an incredible media voice just introduced into the market.
Mm-hmm.
Can that incredible media voice name Notre Dame's starting quarterback for this game?
Ooh.
It was
Nah,
Not you. I know
Oh,
you know
oh.
who it is.
It's not Ian Book, is it?
no.
it's
Ian
before
Book was
that.
That was the year
2019.
after that?
We're number 7, I believe.
Yeah, I got no shot. Deshaun Kaiser?
No,
Brandon Wimbush.
Wimbush.
Who?
Yeah.
Brandon Wimbush said after the game that's the fastest defense I've ever played.
Buddy, wait till you see it in a couple years.
I believe it was Davin Bellamy that had the game-winning strip
Davin
sack.
Bellamy with a game-winning strip sack. Rodrigo Blankenship played an integral role in this game. Had a bunch of field goals. This was, I believe, this was like pre-Kirby Smart wears a visor.
There's a
Really?
time where Kirby didn't wear a visor.
He definitely didn't wear it in the first
He
game.
went no
against
visor
UNC.
for a little bit.
He was no visor. Weird, right?
Yeah.
But no, that's a fun game to remember.
One more?
Yeah, I'll do one more.
Give me the tape. Give me the tape.
Make it the tape. Oh,
Dang
I
it.
love a good would you rather.
So would you rather?
Come on with it.
All
By
right.
the way, that A's hat, crispy.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I think it's nice.
At least they're stylish because cheering for
They
them is
definitely ain't getting dubs.
not fun. Would you rather have a quarterback that finishes as a Heisman finalist or a quarterback that goes top 5 in the NFL draft?
Well, the Heisman finalist is directly correlated to team success.
Team success and
The
individual
top 5
production.
draft pick doesn't correlate to any
Yeah.
team success.
You were
Wasn't
guaranteed.
Matt Stafford 1-1 after going 7-5?
Not 7-5. They were 9-3.
The Heisman winner is guaranteed production.
He's
and
not a winner.
success.
He's not a winner. He's a finalist.
Okay, but still, guaranteed production and team is somewhat successful at least.
And if it's this year, if Gunnar Stockton's in New York, you've scored 45 points a game. You know,
This is true.
in my opinion.
You probably have a 1,000-yard receiver if Gunnar Stockton is in.
Shit, maybe 2.
Yeah, at first I said the top 5 pick, and then I quickly changed my answer.
Do we have anything else? Or we spend?
Oh, you know what it is? You hit remove all copies. That's why it diminishes our board so much.
Oh, that's on me.
Well, there's your tape, Jay.
Let's go.
Ooh.
Okay. Now, this was a player that you and I were talking about the other day, Brooks.
Is this the big offensive tackle that lost a shit ton of weight?
No, this
That's
is the
Kenyatta
linebacker that Glenn Schumann went and visited the other day.
Yes.
And you said, hey, go check out this guy's tape.
You were watching the tape off to the side. I was not, and you were oohing on.
Oh, it's oohing and on, baby.
It's ooh-ah tape, huh? Now, is this a kid from Cali that he went to see?
Yes.
That might not be the
this
tape you had set up.
Yeah, hold on. I got messed up somehow. Give me a second.
Huddle will be on that bullshit sometimes, you know.
I got my daughter's drawing of Sky up on the board.
Is that a coloring page?
Yeah, they like to color on the board.
Dude, honestly, coloring's fun.
Coloring is fun.
I need to get back into coloring.
Very soothing.
It is. It's nice. It's a nice time.
Are
Just
you
like,
an inside the lines guy? I never could.
oh, you gotta stay inside.
I'm not disciplined enough. I stray too far.
All right, once we get done watching this
you
ad,
kid.
I mean, it is from Jump. Oh,
This is the Cali kid, though, right?
yes.
Okay. I'm excited.
You should be. It's fun.
Yeah, it had Jonathan. Ooh. Whoa! Ah!
All right, here
The whole
we go.
time.
You sure he was watching that or
Chill
no?
out, bro.
Easy now. Come on
Sure.
now. We're in the
I mean, that's the
workplace.
sound.
Just inappropriate. Inappropriate.
Good
He's
lord.
number 15 over there.
Yeah.
He doesn't look like 6'5". He looks like he's like 6'1 and a half, 210, 250. Oh my God! Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Watch this
Oh,
one.
we got a Samoan playing Mike. We're definitely
Oh,
in Cali
yeah.
right here. Oh, a little bandage. Run him down. Strip sack. Give it to me.
Ooh, hip drop. That's a 15-yard penalty.
We don't care.
We can't have that
We
in the
don't
league.
care. Give it to me.
I don't want this kid. He plays dirty.
Dropping coverage.
Oh, dropping.
Good hook. Ooh, double check it back.
Oh,
Why are you
body
throwing that,
catcher.
QB?
Body catcher.
Horrible.
But he
pass
caught
receiver.
it.
But
He
hey,
caught it.
you got to pick.
We'll take that at Georgia.
We will. All right, he's outside. No, he's extended box over there on the top. This dude looks like a hell of an athlete, too.
He's coming off that edge.
Yes, he is. Show me some twitch. Ooh, a little overhand swipe. Yes, sir. We got a motor.
And chases him down.
We got a motor. We got a motor. That first clip was some striking. I want to see some more. Looks like a Willie in high school.
Mm-hmm.
They let Big Samoan with the hair play Mike.
Yeah, just plug it. Just
Yeah,
read the
just go in
guards,
there and
bro.
plug.
Just read the guards.
By the way,
Saw
he
some
is
good
listed
high
at
knee drive right
6'1", 205. Of course.
It'll never get old. Yeah.
He's got a good first step.
Yeah, he does. And he's
Like-
got good high knee drive. It doesn't look like we got very much we got looseness in our hips, I
Yeah,
should say.
no wasted movement. Too.
Yeah, none.
Uh-oh. Oh.
Oh.
Man, the recovery.
That's a great recovery play,
Jeez.
but that is bad breaking
Yeah.
down.
Yeah,
and-
I'm with that. I think we got a decent twitch on us.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think this is not like Nakobe tape.
no.
No.
This is not Roquan tape. But it's great tape.
And he's rated as that. He is rated as a 4-star, 241st ranked player in the country, 17th best linebacker.
Yeah. I'm with it. Now, do me a favor while we're watching the back end of this. Just for shiggles, just for shits and giggles, will you pull up Tyler Atkinson?
Just his recruiting page?
No, the actual huddle.
Okay.
Let's watch that junior tape right quick. I want to show y'all what I think is the most guaranteed this guy's going to be great in college type of linebacker. And we'll show you what just slight differences we got in terms of the evals here. My bad, man. I'm over here messing with the board, taking your cursor from you.
Ooh, we're gonna
Kirby,
get-
did you have a good day?
I had a pretty good day, man. How about
Yeah.
you?
I had a good one.
Anything fun happen other than visiting high schools and
No, not really. I hit the brakes at just the right time on 85 before a cop was right around.
Oh, that's always a
me.
good
That's
feeling.
always clutch.
I usually don't
Just
have that.
Had a speeder's intuition.
Yeah, I usually don't have that issue in the Ranger.
Huh?
I usually don't have that issue in the Ranger. It's
Yeah,
usually like,
nah,
oh shit, I'm going 80. I'm
The
gonna
car's
die.
saying the same thing.
He's like, please slow down,
Shit, we can do this?
sir, please.
Is this okay?
Sir, please, you're hurting me. Yeah.
The stuff we do waiting on tape. Here we go. All right, this is Tyler Atkinson. Now this is
State
electric.
title?
And you're going to see a really great mover
Oh.
on this tape as well. And while you're doing this, over there on Twitter, pull up his Twitter page and give me that video he just tweeted out today of him working out with OD.
Is this against Colquitt?
That's against Carrollton in the state championship game.
That was
Bear with me.
You're good. You're good.
JWill.
Look at the closing speed. Oh, my God.
Oh, shit.
Look at the closing speed on this dude. This is against Thompson. This is the best team in Alabama. He's about to kill that kid. No, he's not. He's reading the running back and then green dogging.
It's a great run through.
My God.
Chrome is giving me issues. I'll pull it up in a second.
You're good, bud. I just want to show you what this guy moves like in open space. It's insane. We're going to scoop and score this.
Come on. Ooh, those tackles scare me.
Key.
Way to read the guard.
Yeah, man. The other thing that I love about Tyler, and it's rare to have with defensive players, just a smiley, happy, good human, great kid all the time. And then in between the whistles, we got him mic'd up in a OTA. And that dude dog cusses everybody. He's shit talking in every rep.
That
right?
reminds me of Roquan Smith.
I've never been around Roquan. I guarantee that's exactly how he is.
Roquan Smith is very much like, hey, how y'all doing? Very good to see you. But like, if you
Bring
ever
him
watch,
home to mom.
Yeah, if you ever watch some of the mic'd up stuff, he's a killer.
Look at this dude move. This is insane.
He looks like he's lost weight.
No, he just carries 220 like you'd never imagine.
I was saying he looks thinner than he did in the
he's
tape.
probably 215 right now, but he carries 215 like you wouldn't imagine. Look at the foot fire on this kid. By the way, he don't get to train with high school kids anymore. OD brings him out and only trains him with the pros.
Is this in North Cobb?
Yeah, it's at North Cobb High School. And he's wearing his All-American helmet because we don't train without a helmet. We don't play without a helmet. We train with the helmet and catch balls with the helmet.
We used to give North Cobb the business.
I mean, it is. I think that's J.C. Horn standing behind him right there.
The Panthers corner?
Yeah.
Damn.
I'm telling you, dude. I've never seen a high school kid that is this ready to go ahead and be that. And I know he's going to be that. Look at that.
Jeez.
I mean, just – and he's so polished in everything that he does because he works so damn hard. This is the only kid that I know that trains with OD to learn how to like cover, right? Trains with Marcus Howard to learn how to rush. Trains with a guy named Triple H Tackling Academy.
The game?
To learn how to tackle. Yeah, the game. Okay, does everything and is a 190 tackle guy in high school.
I think one sign, too, of, like, when you know a player is really good is, like, I remember going with you last summer to watch Tyler, and that was my first time watching him play and being amazed, but then re-watching it again and still being just as amazed.
Yeah.
Like, you're still just as wowed as you were the first time.
I mean, that's the other thing about this kid. He was the #1 player in America in 7th grade as an edge rusher. And there's one specific recruiting site still lists him as an outside linebacker because they just –
They don't know.
They don't pay attention.
They don't know.
Don't have any idea.
They ain't on game.
It actually might be 2. Will you check that 4-lettered one and see what they got him listed as?
Yeah.
Because I'm going to tell you right now, if you got anybody ranking this dude as an OLB, stop reading their coverage, period, point blank. He's an outside linebacker.
I have him as a safety.
The 4-letter has him as a linebacker.
ILB?
Just as linebacker.
Good on them. Good on the 4-letter. They actually figured that one out. Is he a top 30 eval over there?
Oh, yeah. He's 18th ranked nationally.
Well, not to – never mind. That's rare because he's an Adidas All-American guy. You'll notice ESPN carried a little favor for them Under Armour All-American participants. Pay attention. Same thing, 24/7, vice versa. Adidas All-American games because they're tied. You know, they're contractually obligated to love on one another. Put y'all on game.
I'm smelling what you're stepping in.
Hey, man, crazy day in our business yesterday.
Yeah, that was wild.
Nuts.
I think everybody was caught off guard except for
They were.
yeah.
More power to you.
Good job, guys.
Then there's us, the good guys, the elites.
The loners, lone wolves. I hear just buffaloing our way through the road.
Sarah, you
Just
change
trucking
your- you
along.
gotta change
Yeah,
your
just
spirit.
chugging along out here. What time is it?
It is 10:01.
Appreciate y'all for being here. Love you. We'll see you on Monday. I won't. Will I? I'll be here. We got Grayson Monday.
Fun.
So we'll see that.
Ooh.
Can't wait.
Love